Michigan, baby. Go blue.
No one
Booner
gives a
Path.
fuck, trust me.
The Booner Path. Oh.
Boys are going to bring the heat today.
As the leader of the Booner Path, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the fuck up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff Booner. Lucas, we are back. And it's Thursday, March 20th. March Madness has began. So everyone's, I know you've been dialed into it. I've been dialed into it. It's been a lot of fun. A lot of upsets already kind of starting to happen here. Hopefully you already got your bracket in because it's began. I think we have like 70, 80 people in our bracket challenge.
Yeah.
So the winner eventually will be announced, but it's a battle right now.
Might be me.
It's a battle right now.
It is. Hey, Mark, I'll tell you this too, boys. This was one of my favorite days of the year. I was at work today. I just watched basketball all day. I didn't do anything but watch ball. Nothing. And I just bet on I've bet on every game so far. There has been a wager from my phone on every game of the NCAA tournament. And I plan to keep it that way. And I've been hitting. I've been hot.
Come
Yeah,
on,
the only thing I placed, I lost. Yeah, thanks, Clemson, for that. That's tough. But you know what? McNeese State.
Come on.
McNeese State had him in the. I said it on the show the other night. I said, everyone take McNeese State. I hope you all listen.
Yeah, they battled.
Might know ball a little bit over here.
They battled that manager, whatever he's doing, holding the
Oricon.
Yeah.
The cheerleaders had the socks where it was just his face all over it.
That is straight aura, dude. That kid is.
Tonight.
Yeah. Today, there was Clemson, McNeese State, and we're in our group chat. And I'm as hot as can be gambling. And Caleb's trying to ask, hey, Boone, what picks do you want? Yeah, I'm taking McNeese State plus 7.5. And he goes, all right, I'm taking Clemson. I'm like, you're going to fit. All right, we're going to do this. All right, here we go. We went head to head. And I said, I think it's Akeem. Akeem is the manager.
That was already after the Creighton Louisville incident, where we were.
He took Louisville, and I said, hey, I'm taking Creighton, and I tweeted it out. He took Louisville. Guess who won that?
Caleb had a rough day today for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, and I texted him too. Like, he kept trying to fade me. I don't know what it was. I just kept winning. I'm like, what are we doing here? So yeah, you don't bet against Akeem, man. Not Akeem the Aura man.
Yeah, I learned today. McNeese State might be I might be rooting for that team. I am. You told me the story about the head coach taking the job at NC State. Now they're kind of playing hard for him. The manager has tons of aura. I like them. They're a fun little story here. So, and they're really good. Their record's great.
Yeah. They almost lost. They
held on. They held on. But you know what? I guess that's March Madness. There'll be plenty more upsets. So again, hopefully you already got your bracket in and you're in it for an NFL jersey of your choice. But like I said, we got a lot to get to today, boys. We're ranking our top 5 NFC wide receivers at 8:30, so we'll get to see where the fellas.
It's NFC, not NFL. Just so people know.
We're doing an NFL list on our social media. We're going to do NFC where the Lions rank in the NFC.
Not the people. We don't want you guys to know our NFL.
No, not today.
No.
But we'll see where Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams ranks in the NFC. We'll get to that. Of course, cap space. The Lions got plenty of it. What will they do with it? How will they use it in the future? We'll talk about all that and more. And then, we'll get to Mel Kiper's mock because it is Thursday. So, we'll get to that later in the show as well. And then, Lucas, we didn't get to your here's a guy. So today we're breaking down your guy and who you have. So lots to get to, but we'll start here.
I'll say that much.
I'm interested in this one. I know who it is, but it'll be interesting.
Every week it becomes the new favorite. So at the very last one, that's the number one dog. That's what I'm starting to learn here.
Mm-hmm. But the Lions did make a move today. 2 moves. 2. 1 re-signing and 1 a free agency signing. And that free agency signing is former second-round pick for the Indianapolis Colts. Played the last 3 years on 3 different teams. Recently, the 49ers appeared in 13 games. That is cornerback Rock Ya-Sin. Look at that. Lions agreed to terms with cornerback Rock Ya-Sin. Love that name, by the way. Former second-round pick of the Colts heads to Detroit after appearing in 13 games for the 49ers. Mark Galafalo put it out, reported it. This, to me, fellas, and I kind of talked about it in the videos. I don't really have much to say on it because there's not really much to say. But from what I've gathered, it seems like Rock Ya-Sin is probably that Kindle Vildor replacement. I guess that's probably a fair assessment. He signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You bring in Rock Ya-Sin. So
we actually talked about it yesterday with Kindle leaving, that at some point Brad was going to have to bring in a corner. And that was kind of today, literally within 24 hours, Brad goes out and gets another corner. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm very familiar with his game. He played, I saw he played 13 games last year with the 49ers. Obviously they weren't the 49ers of, the past, what we're used to. So I'm sure he wasn't like the best corner out there, but it's just depth. Like I think that's the biggest thing is just trying to find depth, especially in the secondary. Like, what I'm waiting for, boys? Like I'm waiting for Brad to go get a safety too. Like you need to add safety to this secondary at some point. So in the next, this is how though, like Brad's not done. Things are going to keep. What is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Like trickling in here. Like there's going to things every couple days. You're going to see a couple new signings. It's not going to be every day, but every couple days you're going to see some new things and some new pieces added to this football team. That's just one of them right there. You could tell though he still wants depth. Like he's still looking for it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this kind of affects Brad Holmes as far as taking a corner in the draft, because I think there was some people that said, "Hey, still get some more depth there." But you bring in Rock Ya-Sin. It's not a needle mover. If it's a needle mover for you, you need to lay off the blue chew. But the thing that I am excited about is if you look in the NFC divisional round and the NFC championship game and the Super Bowl, there is zero chance that we see Kindle Vildor or a player to that status walk out there, because Rock Ya-Sin, he's not like I said, not a needle mover, but he's not an absolute bum. When you look at what he did, he came out of Temple as a second-round pick. I believe it was the Colts who took a chance on him. Honestly, like when they drafted him, he was a developmental type of guy, had a solid rookie year, kind of solid sophomore year, gets traded to the Raiders, career falls off. So I think he's just a guy that, if injury comes up and you throw somebody on the outside for a little bit, you're comfortable with Rock Ya-Sin taking 3-4 snaps and getting his ass back off there and contributing a lot on special teams. So again, solid move. There's no way that you can hate on it. No way that you can be excited about it, but it's a good depth move. So.
What's the blue chew? What's that?
Blue chew is what you get when you need a boner boon. So if Rock Ya-Sin's moving your needle, you're a little too erect at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that's a good explanation. Lucas.
Never heard of that before. But
I think I looked back at 2021 for Rock Ya-Sin because I only talked about last year and it was a poor year, but try to look at some of the good years in his career. He's played in the NFL 6 years. Rock Ya-Sin in 2021, I think it was his last year with the Colts. He was the 37th ranked corner, according to PFF, in coverage. So, he's been up and down. Yeah, he was decent a couple years ago. I don't know what happened after that.
Went
The
to
next year he went to
Raiders. You go to the
75th.
Raiders, especially when they had no Max Crosby at the time.
Yeah, the
Good
Colts was his best years.
Was he there with the Meek Robertson or no?
I don't. He might have been because does it say how long he was with the Raiders?
He was
for?
only
I
there
stopped
1
paying-
year.
So then,
I
no,
believe.
probably not.
I think it was Raiders, Ravens, 49ers.
I think he was there with Gruden, Boone.
Love that. Then I'm in on him.
Yeah, that was
All
the,
in.
Pretty sure because I remember he
Gruden's
got
a dog.
traded.
yeah. So he, I know he had some good years in his career, or I shouldn't say good, but okay years. So maybe they were hoping he can get back to that. I don't know. Is he better than Kindle Vildor? I don't know. We'll see. But it's interesting. They also brought back corner Khalil Dorsey.
Love this.
Yeah.
So Dorsey's back in the building. All right, the special teamer. Very fine special teamer. Very fine depth piece at corner.
Yeah.
This I support for special teams reasons. He's one of the best at special teams, so I love this.
I know Khalil's coming off an injury too, like a major injury. I don't know if he's going to be ready to start the season, but I think it's something like with Khalil, like his trajectory before his injury. I felt like, at least in my opinion, he was going to get to a point at some point with the Lions to where he was going to have that Kindle Vildor role. Like he was going to be the next man to at some point be able to take like a not a rotational, but like, hey, next man up. And even when he got other guys outside of Kindle went down, guess who was playing? Like you saw Khalil step in and play corner a lot. So I think there's a chance, like if he gets healthy, depending on how this leg heals, like that's a brutal injury, especially at corner. Like that's tough for him. But I think if he gets back, gets healthy, he'll be fighting for kind of that Kindle Vildor spot. I hope at least. But like his special teams, I think at what he does at special teams might be one of the best in the NFL. He is elite. He's like he's very elite, an elite gunner in the league right now. So
yeah,
I just hope this
playmaker
injury
for
doesn't.
him.
I hope the injury doesn't hurt, like affect it at all either.
We'll see how it does, but I mean, I don't think like he's not going to be on the field a lot compared to a player we're going to be able to notice it. It's going to be short spurts, so I think there's less concern. But I agree with you, Boone. The injury can linger, but either way, I think what he's already done on special teams, it's hard for him to forget how to play special teams. And I think special teams obviously need talent, but it's about fundamentals, executions. Dave Phipp, one of the best special teams coordinator in the NFL. You just got to be in the right spot, be able to block, get down the field. But Khalil Dorsey knows how to do more than that. You bring him in as a depth piece, kind of. I mean, it's kind of very similar to Rock Ya-Sin. Like he's not going to be locking down anybody. He's going to come up and hit somebody. And at depth, completely fine with that because the defense just wants to be a physical smash mouth type of attacking defense. You have that in your fifth and sixth string corner. It's a good piece, and he's a stud on special teams, like you said too, Boone. So
he's going to probably be a special teams captain this year. Like that'd be my guess.
Germ. He's probably him and
Khalil
Vacu
Dorsey
best
now.
special teamers.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, he can be a returner, gunner. You know, like he's pretty versatile. I mean, he can do pretty much anything you ask him. Like, so he's. I mean, I know the injury, but it was more of a clean break, not a fracture. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't like a ligament tear, so should be all right. And like you said, he's not playing in like big spurts to really notice. But I like Dorsey. I like that he's back. I mean, they have money to spend. Obviously, they're spending it on players that don't really cost anything. I mean, they have the fifth highest cap space in the NFL right now, 49 and almost, I mean, 0.6, but almost $50 million in cap right now. And people, I think the average eye might look at this and say, you know, well, why aren't you spending it? There is an explanation to that. They have some players they do got to pay. All right. When you look at this cap, it looks like a lot of money, $50 million, but about 20 of it's going to Kirby. So there you go. There's 20. And then not to mention what's coming in the future when the cap raises and it continues to rise. You have Aiden Hutchinson, Brian Branch, Jameson Williams. I mean, we keep going here. I mean, you have Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, all these players. And the guys that you're currently paying, like Ahmed Ra, Jared, Panay, you're already paying you just paid Decker. You're already paying guys like Frank and you know all these other guys. So there's dudes that they're paying, and they just gave a contract to DJ Reed. So $50 million does look like a lot, but no, we're not idiots. Okay, they can't spend all $50 million. But the reality of this is, boys, like, what are they going to do with the money? All right, and I think it's going to go back into the players, obviously. But when you're at this point in time, I'm not looking at the 50 as like, what are they going to do to spend the 50? It's not about spending the 50. It's about how do you free up a little cap space here and there. If you need a couple million, you want to add some players on 1-year deals, they can still do that. So like, although they have to spend it on players, you could still go out and, get guys on 1-year deals. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's still more work to do. There's still guys they can sign, but that's what they're going to do with the money. So there was never a Trey Hendrickson. There was never a Myles Garrett.
Never.
They're not paying all the big money to these guys because they have to pay their own.
That's I think the mindset, like Lions fans, and it's still going around. Like, I don't know if you boys see. I don't know if you boys been seeing it, but like I'm still seeing Trey Hendrickson stuff every day. I open my phone, click on X. Trey Hendrickson's like the first tweet that pops up. Oh, to Detroit. Oh, let's start doing some math here and let's figure out. And then if you want to sit here and tell me, oh, Trey Hendrickson will come from the deal he's currently on, it'll never happen. And there's like like there's no deals with those major players that will ever happen going forward ever for the Lions, in my opinion, unless it's in-house. My scenario with all this, so you see the 50 million, boys, like I think Brad's going to be smart about it. Like I don't think you see all 50 million spent, to be honest. Like I think you're going to see a couple more 1-year deals, and then after that, like you might see a Za'Darius deal where it's 1, maybe 2. But then after that, like whatever's left, just roll over going to the next year. Like I don't think that Brad's going to be sitting there like I have to spend every last penny. Like there's no way he's just sitting there like I got 50 million, I have to use. Like there's no benefit of it if it's just going to do it just to do it, to when you can kind of just roll it over and say, hey, let's go into next year. Or let's say, training camp cuts start happening. Boom, you can go get someone like you had a Tim Patrick last year. Or you know what I mean? Or like if the trade deadline, boys, you know this very well, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the trade deadline, you can trade for someone and kind of get an extension done if you like someone, right? Like if there's those opportunities come forward, like you want to be able to have the flexibility to do so. And I'll throw this out here because when I was looking at the cap space, when we threw this on there, one thing that popped out to me today, boys, DJ Reed's contract dropped. Felt like it was like a new album just dropped. His contract just came out today. 2025, $4.7 million cap hit. Guess what it is in 2026, boys?
What?
Take a guess. Go ahead.
I'm gonna guess 19.
Jeff?
I'll go 21.
It's 18. You both went over. It's 18 million. So you go, but the point still stands. You go from 4 basically to 18, and then in year 3 it's at 8. It goes back down to 8. So like this, it's things that you guys like as a fan base. If you're gonna go out there on Twitter, be reckless and start throwing out Trey Hendrickson and all these different things, and be a little reckless about the numbers and bringing guys in, start to go look at the cap hits by year, because Brad's obviously setting it up like, hey, this year we want this much for this guy and this guy and this guy. And I'm sure, like, think about boys, like, and I think it was Jeff. I talked to you about this for a little bit. Like, oh no, it was both of you. After 2025, like the Taylor Decker cap hit goes up, the Jared Goff cap hit that goes up. All these cap hits start going up in 2026. DJ Reed's 2026, 18 mil. So that's where I think like the 50 million just sitting there. I think there's a cap to where Brad's like, I just don't want to spend a certain amount. Like, we need to sit here. And like the Hutch deal, guess what? That'll be done in the next 2 months, I'm sure, or 3 months.
Yeah.
The Kirby deal will be done in the next 2 or 3 months, I'm sure. Like that's going to move the 50 down real quick. And I'm sure maybe they'll restructure and throw some into this year. I don't know, but things are going to have to happen. And the 50 million isn't really 50 million as it seems.
Yeah, I agree with you, boys. I really don't have too much to add to that. Maybe they go sign a depth piece for the offensive line. I think, honestly, at this point, probably go in the draft to replace Kevin Zeitler if you're not going to do it with Graham Glasgow. And even if you do, still double dip in the draft, because Graham Glasgow looked pretty shaky last year, especially on that left side. Even if you move him to right, like you still want to have insurance if he's kind of shaky. And Christian Mahogany looked great, but now we got to see him for 17 games, and he could possibly struggle. I don't think it happens, but you have to be prepared for that outside of injury as well. So go in the draft, middle of it, second round. Hell, if Tyler Booker falls to 28, I wouldn't mind that either. But I think at 28 through round 5, go pick up a guard. So I think that's what the money could be used for. If it's not, getting a depth piece there through free agency. But still, I agree with you guys. You got to hoard that money a little bit. if you wanted to go all in, you had the money to do that. But you obviously see Brad likes to save his money and play the long game here. So we're not used to it by now. Brad Holmes, that $50 million, I'd probably say by the middle of the season, or I'll say by the start of the season, probably be at like 30.
Yeah.
25. And
Yeah,
I'm saying if you don't bring in Aiden Kirby.
Well, you still need money to sign your draft picks, and then you never know what happens, when with roster cuts. You might pick up somebody then. You need some money to play with. You can always restructure, which I think that's where people forget sometimes, is like you can always free up cap space by restructuring. Not that it's the end all be all. It does stuff to the contract. Like, I get that, but you can still free up money. So there's the ways to work the cap, especially how you set up contracts, which Brad has done pretty well. Like the teams like the Eagles do pretty consistently. Other teams too, the Chiefs, like how they structure contracts to benefit them and front load, back load,
Buccaneers do it well too.
Consistently restructuring. Yeah. It's just like,
what's crazy, one big thing that I don't think people think about too, Carlton Davis, you're getting a cap hit on him this year, almost $10 million. Like he has dead cap. You're getting like a $9 million dead cap. Guess who else I'm looking at here? Cam Sutton, $6.5 million dead cap. Germ, $2.7 million dead cap. So like Brad, like this is the things that people like online or people who cover the team sometimes just like throw around out there, like you know what I mean? Like without actually doing homework and looking, and they're just like, hey, let's just go get Trey Hendrickson. Oh, it looks so cool on paper. But it's like, hey, like there are financial negatives of this. And it's not even like negatives of it. It's like, it's so unrealistic. Like the people who come to me and be like, oh, we need Trey Hendrickson or it's over. It's literally probably impossible. If you really want to break it down. Like,
if you want to keep guys. I mean,
but like currently right now, like, okay, you're not going to just say, no, we're not giving Kirby a contract. You won't. No one in the NFL, all 32 teams would say no to that. Same with Hutch, right? So what are you going to do? Cut some guys? Oh, you cut some guys, still have dead cap? Like they're just to get a contract like a Trey Hendrickson over the next 5 or 6 years with the contracts that are already under the books, or if you have to move on the dead cap, it feels impossible. Like you would really have to squeeze some money out and try and figure it out. Like it just doesn't seem as realistic as people think, in my opinion. I think with Myles Garrett, it could have been more realistic because his conversations were, I didn't want to get paid, but guess what he did?
He wanted to get paid.
Man wanted to get paid. So like that's why I think Brad called for Myles, was because Myles was saying, I don't want to get paid.
I mean, Damon says Hutch and Joseph's contracts are going to be like $60 million a year together. I mean, yeah, I think that Kirby deal might. I mean, it could take all the way to the season. They could get it done. I mean, when was Panay, Ahmed-Ra, Jared?
They were before training camp. They were after they were literally, I think, like, they were all like the week before the NFL draft.
Yeah, it says around draft.
Yeah,
time.
I think it was like a couple days before, because they did all the videos and stuff right before the draft. Amon-Ra did his at Ford Field right before the draft.
I mean,
so it's coming up. It's going to happen in the next. I think within 2 months you're going to see both of those deals done. Is my thought process. And draft picks, like you said, Jeff, they cost money. Like, I don't know what it would be for all of them, but like even first round draft picks, they're going to be probably 8 or 9 million or whatever it is. So like you're probably paying, let's say 15 million, 20 million of draft picks as well within that 50. So
I mean, look at this shift guy. Jamo's going to want Higgins money.
That's when things start to get interesting.
I mean, think about this hypothetical. If Jameson Williams, what is he in year 4?
That's going to be interesting.
If he puts up 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, he'll have 3,000-yard seasons.
Which he will. He will.
And I'm assuming he's available, assuming, everything goes well. T. Higgins, who is, I believe, T. Higgins is a wide receiver 1 who's just in a different role. But in his career, he only has 2,000-yard seasons. All right, and that's as a number 2. He would have, I get it, way more production. But like as a number 2, technically Jamo, and because T. Higgins missed games, so that's context. Like he played in 12 games this year, had 900 yards. Like if he played in 17, he would have had, how many? You think 1,200?
When you saw when Jamar Chase went down last
year, he was that guy. But my point being is, if I'm Jamo's agent, I'm arguing, 3,000-yard seasons. Let's say he's majority healthy for the most part. Like, give me $30 million. It's like,
no.
I'm just
That's
saying.
how, Jeff, I feel like, and it sounds like slander, but that's where I turn into you with the Jahmyr Gibbs conversation. There is no way in hell that I would pay 2 wide receivers that type of money. No,
That's way too much money, man.
Eagles and Bengals have done it.
And look at where their defense is going to be for the rest of those contracts. They will never have a defense unless they're able to figure it out through the draft. But let's look at like wide receivers in this draft, and not saying that they're the players that JMO has, but let's look at the production. And you don't even need the 1,000 yards, in my opinion, especially when Sam Laporta is going to be hurt. Let's stay with the Jameson Williams thing instead of doing that. If I'm looking at Jameson Williams, you extend him to the 5th-year option, you franchise tag him, and then after you franchise tag him, you put him up for trade offers. If you don't like it, perfect. Let him play out the franchise tag. Let him walk. But there's no way you can expect to win a Super Bowl when you're paying Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're not going to let Laporta walk. I can assure you of that one, because you don't find Laportas growing on trees. And then Jameson Williams, great player, but it's not a position of value. You see teams all the time let their wide receiver 2s walk, and their offense, it might not be explosive without Jameson Williams, but this will still be a very productive offense.
It's going to be a tough decision, man. I mean, I agree with that. I think wide receivers, it has nothing to do with JMO. It has everything to do with just the reality that you might not be able to keep him for how much cheddar he's going to want, and he should want as much money as he can get. He should. I just don't know if the Lions are going to be able to.
There might be. I do think there's a world.
If he hits free agency, how much money do you think he would get paid in free agency? That would be a good question. Like, how much?
You're probably like right now. Say he's a free agent today, or are you saying?
Yeah, he's a free agent
today. Probably around 20 to 25 today.
How about after let's say he puts up back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons?
25.
I
think
bet
25.
By
That's
the
like what
time
Devontae is.
He'll be what? You think his contract, as far as will he get extended, will be in 2 years? We'd agree, right?
It
Like that's
it's after this next year.
Market. I know, but I'm saying like when you sign him, if you do sign him, I don't think Brad's gonna like sign him early. I think he's gonna let that contract
that would be. This is his. I think he's going into his last year of his deal.
I know,
right?
That's what I'm saying. You have this season and next with the 5th-year
Am I
option.
wrong?
Brad,
no, because Kirby's 4, he's 5 because of the 5th year. Let me see. I'll check right now. He's in year 4, so
he's eligible today to get extended.
He is. He has this season and then next. So.
Okay, so he has 2 more. Okay,
yeah, that's what I'm
saying.
saying.
Are you saying what is the market going to be, Klotz? Is that what?
I think it's going to be like 35 by that point.
No.
There will be teams that could offer
29, 30.
I'm saying what he can command, not from the Lions. I'm saying when he hits the open market. If
I
there's
disagree
a team,
wholeheartedly.
If
35
Jameson Williams, if the situation that we're talking about, if Jameson Williams puts up back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, stays healthy, that there are going to be multiple teams that said that guy's going to be our big play threat. That's going to be our Deshaun Jackson. That's going to be our wide receiver 1. And there will be teams that will be like, hey, the New England Patriots just gave Milton Williams $26 million in 2025 and 2027.
Different. You can't do different.
Wide receivers get paid more than defensive tackles.
But you don't have to. Different position groups is like, to me, it's like
what I'm saying is
find
teams
another wide receiver
to throw JMO money.
I don't think 35 million is way too much. That's literally top 10 money. And I don't think Jamo's going to get to that. He might, but I don't think a team's going to look at him and be like, that's going to be not even top 10. So, and I know the market's going to move. Like it just moved to 40 million for Jamar Chase. But I do think there's going to be a point yes, the cap's going to go up, but you're not going to see a wide receiver make 50 mil. It's probably going to be around 40-ish over the next few years going forward, in my opinion. And I don't think you're going to say, hey, Jamo's going to get 35. I think 30 would be the number where it's that's fair. Because if you're looking at today, Klotz, Devontae Smith, he could be a wide receiver. You can make the same argument with Devontae Smith. Another team would offer him all this money. Why didn't he leave? He just said, I'll take the 25. The 25 that is the wide receiver top tier money for him. T. Higgins, what did he get? 27? Was it?
Yeah, he got 27 and some change.
Let's go 2 years down the line, add 8 million. That's 35. That's a lot. 8 million jump. That's a lot to me. I don't know.
But listen to what you just said though. Devontae Smith, what did they re-sign him to be? The wide receiver 2. When you look at T. Higgins,
I don't see a world where you're going to say he's going to be your Justin Jefferson.
If there's a team that looks at him as a wide receiver 1, because I guarantee if he stays on this track, he's a 12th overall pick that should have been a top 5 pick if he didn't get hurt. All the talent's there. If there's production to match it, and there's a quarterback with a strong arm, it doesn't have to be Justin Herbert. You got a quarterback like Justin Herbert, and they don't have a deep threat, and they have a slot guy that's kind of iffy, a Khalil Shakir type of guy. There will be a team if they have cap space that will throw 35 to, let's go 33 to 35 million.
Let's be realistic, all right?
He takes it, but if he wants to get money, there will be a team that pay him.
Let me ask you this. Let's be realistic here. Outside of Christian Kirk's situation, remove Christian Kirk from the situation. Who in the NFL, what like high-level wide receiver 2 has been poached and has kind of gotten pushed out of that market value like that in the last 2 years?
I don't really get what you're asking.
Like find me a wide receiver 2 that was a high-level one, like a T. Higgins, who in the last 2 or 3 years got poached from a different team where a team was like, I'll pay you 35. And then the wide receiver said, all right, I'm leaving. Name me one. Outside of Christian Kirk, name me one.
No, I get what you're saying, but those teams.
It doesn't happen. Like we've said this a million times. It never happens.
You don't usually have a
Teams
wide
don't
receiver
do
duo
it.
like Amon-Ra and J-Mo on rookie contracts, and then the quarterback, the running back, the defense. The Lions' money.
We've seen Devontae Smith, T. Higgins. Like you're saying, we don't see it. We've seen it.
Devontae Smith signed 2 years. So do you think J-Mo's coming back to the Lions? Yes or no?
I think there's still a chance, but I think it's like that's a decision that's going to be made. But I think if he leaves, he's going to only end up getting around 30. A team's not going to, without seeing him as your number one in the NFL. Historically, outside of the Christian Kirk situation, you don't see GMs just taking random massive swings for $35+ million on a wide receiver to say, like, we're going to give you 4 years, 35, and just trust and hope that you become that wide receiver. We hope you become our AJ Brown or Justin Jefferson just because you have the talent. Like, no, like that's something I think you want to see.
That's Stephon Diggs. There's one Stephon Diggs of the Bills. He was there with Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen was an all-pro wide receiver. Stephon Diggs on a rookie contract.
Stephon was like one. We knew he was the one.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. If you act like Stephon Diggs is better, but if we're all saying that Jameson Williams is going to be what J-Mo was next year and he's going to get better, they're good. Like, you don't think a team would have offered T. Higgins this year $30 million? Yes, they probably will offer him 32, 33 so they could have that insurance. Like, you're coming here. He wanted to stay in Cincy with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. He's not going to be signed to 35 by the Lions. I'm not saying that. But I don't even think he'd be signed to 30 with the Lions. That's why I think J-Mo, if he's going to want money, there's a chance that he leaves. There's a chance that J-Mo's like,
I think he'll get 30 somewhere else. I don't think he'll get.
So you guys disagree between the number. I don't think. I think it's going to be tough for him with what happened to start. It's a tough start to the career there. Just with like the betting stuff, and then coming off a major injury. But if he puts up 3 solid yard seasons, 3 great seasons. I have to see what the market is. I'm not going to say 35, but we're not too far off. I mean, 30.
No,
what's Puka going to get? What's Puka going to get? Probably 35.
We get 40. Puka's going to be the wide receiver 1 this season, command a new contract, and he's going to ask for Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
So I don't think he'll get to that, but I could see a team throwing a bag at him. I mean, we all agree there. So I just don't think you're going to be able to keep him, man. Because I think he's a really good player. I think he's going to put up numbers. And when you talk about players need to be resigned, he's on offense, it's probably not smart to just throw most of that money at your wide receiver too. I'm just saying. Considering how Brad's really drafted at wide receiver.
It is interesting
in his career. I mean, dating
back. Is it not interesting to see like the Eagles and like how the Eagles even did it? Like, I didn't realize they gave 25 to Devontae and 30 to AJ.
Yeah, but it helps when you
and then
so many defensive players on rookie contracts.
That's the biggest thing. That's where it comes into place where it's like Brad has to draft well over the next 2 years.
Yeah, like they have Carter. Carter's he's not due for another 3 years. You know what I mean?
You want to be able to keep your offense at that level and you want to bring J-Mo back, like defensively, you're gonna have to move on from some guys, but you're gonna have to draft well to do it. Like you can't not draft well and just hope. Like that's a big if in the draft for Brad.
I'd rather prioritize Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, if I'm being honest. That's just kind of that's the money right there. Probably $30+ million between those two players. All right, let's get to our top wide receiver duos because it does tie into it. Now, it's a good transition because now you talk about J-Mo. Now we're going to get into where we have J-Mo and Amon-Ra ranked in the NFC.
Let's get more heated.
So I'll go first. All right, I'll get the.
Can I go last again?
I'll show you guys the correct list, and then you guys can fall from there. All right.
Yeah, but the correct list is last.
So, and you guys can kind of fall from there. But here's our top 5 wide receivers in the.
I already see something that drives me nuts.
NFC. Oh, please, let's get into it. Oh, come on.
I'm waiting.
Bow! Here's the correct list. I'll tell you guys this right now. Get off my screen. Get off my screen. Hold on.
I would like to stay on.
Me and Etienne are just
look.
going to be
I
sitting
want
over
to
here just.
Let me tell you something, all right? These are the top 5 wide receiver duos in the NFC. And you might be thinking, Jeff, the Lions at 4, you're a hater. You hate Brad Holmes. You hate Amon-Ra. You hate everyone. You stink. You're not a Lions fan. Here's my thought process, by the way, and these are really good wide receiver duos. And number 1, I'm going to go with the Eagles. They have 2 wide receiver ones. That's tough to argue. I mean, I think they could both. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith could put up similar numbers. I know I already know what the fellas are going to say. Oh, they're coming off a bad year. Okay, cool. All right, how many passing yards did Jalen Hurts have? All right, let's just leave it at that. Because we know what A.J. Brown's capable of. He's a 1,500-yard guy. And if Devonta Smith was a wide receiver 1, yeah, he'd probably be in that ballpark too, probably 1,100. So that's my number 1 wide receiver duo. Okay, it just is. Number 2, the Rams. I know this one. I'm going off on a little. I'll say this: Puka Nacua as a number 1, one of the best in the league. But it's not about number 1s; it's about number 2s too. Oh, number 2, Davante Adams. Interesting. Davante Adams, who, by the way, when he joined the Jets last year, was highly productive with Aaron Rodgers, of course, but I think he'll be just as productive with Matthew Stafford. He is a guy that maybe at his age, he's still a wide receiver 1. He's obviously not in his prime, but he's still very good. And those two together, I have to give the edge, man. I have to give the edge of the Rams. I think they'll both put up 1,000 if they're healthy. So I have to give them the edge there. Number 3, this one was tough for me. All right, because I wanted to put the Lions at 3. I really did. I wanted to put the Lions at 3, but I kept telling myself, Jordan Addison and Jameson Williams, to me, it's close. I think they're similar players. Jordan Addison's very good. He had a very good year this year. Jameson's very good. Had a very good year this year. But then you talk about Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown. All right, and Justin Jefferson, nothing against Amon-Ra. He's a great wide receiver. Justin Jefferson is on track to compete with like Randy Moss's records. Like this dude is on a whole nother level, not just from, I'm not trying to disrespect Amon-Ra. It's just a fact. Like the guy is literally in his own stratosphere when it comes to wide receivers, probably with Jamar Chase at this moment. Those two are battling for that number 1 spot. So I just have to give the edge of the Vikings there. It's like similar with, in my opinion, Jordan Addison and J-Mo. And then I think I would give the edge to Justin Jefferson. So I'm going to give them the edge at 3. And then at 4, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. Okay, Amon-Ra, all pro. J-Mo, capable Pro Bowler. Okay, he's a really good wide receiver too. I just think with 1 year doing it, that also is part of it, but I think he will do it again. So I'm going to give them the spot at 4, which is still pretty good. At number 5, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, let's be real here. Mike Evans, he's a little older, but it's still freaking Mike Evans. He's still productive. He's still a matchup nightmare. And then you have Chris Godwin, who last year had like 600 yards in half the season. So, when you look at it like that, the guy's productive. He was on pace to have like 1,300 yards, Chris Godwin. And then you have Mike Evans, who's had how many consecutive 1,000-yard seasons? So that's my top 5. All right, that's my top 5 in the NFC, and it's the correct top 5.
Jeff.
Okay. No, yeah, please.
I want to try to hold on. Let's save this towards the end. Let's throw up my list because I feel like if I just explain myself here, it gives away my list as far as some of it. Major issue with the number 1 team. Major issue. And to say that Davante Adams would have the same production with walking into the New York Jets. Who was their head coach? Who?
Wait,
who was their offensive coordinator? Who was their quarterback? Pull it up.
I don't even know what you're talking about here, but let's put it up.
Mind-boggling take you just said.
Yeah, no, what? That the Rams, so the Rams are at 2.
Davante Adams will have the same production in LA as he did in New York.
No, I said Davante he's going to be basically, it's like 2 wide receiver.
I think after this year, I think it could change very fast.
But you said similar production though, and that's
he was on fire with Aaron Rodgers.
He had his lowest career year last year.
No, but at the end when he was with the Jets, he had some games where he had some great games.
So you're saying season production or just what?
No,
Confused on
no,
what you
this-
guys are arguing right now.
Oh
'cause
yeah,
I think you guys are
misunderstood
arguing.
me.
I think
was
Clyde,
saying,
like he's
Devontae was a shell of himself, and then when he got to the Jets with Aaron, there was a couple games where like, oh, this is what this is Devontae. I think you're going to see a lot of that this year. You know,
Gotcha.
I
thought you meant like the 800 yards, like in the.
No.
LA.
He'll get
way.
1,000.
Okay,
He'll get 1,000. I said that too.
Okay, we'll pull up my list and then we can at least get off of that. Okay, whew. My number one team, fellas, is the Los Angeles Rams. Okay, there is no way you can look at me in the eye and tell me that the Los Angeles Rams do not have the best duo outside of maybe Jamar Chase and T. Higgins in the NFL. When you look at Puka Nacua, okay, this guy, especially if you watch towards the last half of last season, he has the best wide receiver in the NFL outside of Justin Jefferson written all over him. He's going to be the wide receiver 1 in the NFL this year. When you look at just how good he is, how good he's been as a wide receiver 2, and then you got a glimpse of, when this guy gets Cooper Kupp's volume, he is going to be a monster. When you look at what he did week 1 against the Lions, where he had 80 yards in a quarter, then got hurt, pulled out of there. Now you add in a first ballot Hall of Famer in Devontae Adams, who when you look at what he's done over the last 4 years and who he's played with, he goes to play with Derek Carr for a couple games. Then you got Aiden O'Connell. Dude puts up 1,500 yards. Oh, and Jimmy Garoppolo and 14 touchdowns. The next year, he has 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. And this year, he gets shipped teams, and he still has 8 touchdowns and damn near 1,000 yards. With Sean McVay, you're going to look at a 1,500-yard plus wide receiver in Puka Nacua, and Devontae Adams is going to have 1,000 or 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns. There's not going to be a way, especially with Sean McVay coordinating this pass attack, designing these plays. This duo is going to be unguardable. When it comes to man-to-man, zone coverage, they know how to do it all, and they have Matthew Stafford throwing them the ball. So I do factor in quarterbacks a little bit with this, not fully. I'm looking at, okay, who are these wide receivers within themselves? Now, looking at the Minnesota Vikings at number 2, I think people, they look at Justin Jefferson and see how good he is, and then Jordan Addison's right next to him. So it's like, okay, Jordan Addison is a great wide receiver. Rookie year had 10 touchdowns. Come into this year, has 9 touchdowns in 15 games. He's a big play threat, one of the best route runners in the NFL, and has very good hands and go up and get a jump ball and take a slant 70 yards to the house. There's nothing he can't do. He's just a little bit smaller. I look at him, J-Mo, and Devontae Smith in the very same tier. So that's why when I'm looking at these wide receiver ones, the Minnesota Vikings have the best wide receiver in the NFL. So the second best duo in the NFC. Number 3 and 4 with the Eagles and Lions is a toss-up. This one was really hard for me to do, but I think when you look at going into next year, the point where and I'm normally somebody that says A.J. Brown, I like him more than Amon-Ra St. Brown because of he's the X wide receiver. He's a true X wide receiver. But A.J. Brown on the outside going into next year, I don't know if I like that just as much as what I've been seeing out of Amon-Ra, especially last year. A.J. Brown, incredible talent, but there's times when he disappears, whether that's his fault or the offense's. There's times where A.J. Brown disappears. You never see Amon-Ra St. Brown disappear. And you factor in what Jamison Williams does. He's not the route runner that Devontae Smith is, but he's a better deep threat. He had fewer drops than him this year, and he stays healthier. This year, he stayed healthier at least. If he stays healthy, he's a better wide receiver than Devontae Smith. It's not that close, but I like the Lions wide receiver core going into this year just a little bit more than the Eagles. I already talked about the Eagles enough. This one is where I understand where I can get some flack, pushback, do not care. I'm standing on my hill. I think I was battling between the Falcons and Buccaneers here because
this is the worst fit on a top 5 I've ever seen in my life.
That's fine. When you look at what the Atlanta Falcons are, you're like, why would you ever put him on there? Watch Drake London, what he did last year with bum-ass wash Kirk Cousins. Look at him the year before with Taylor Heineke. Drake London is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL without a doubt. Go watch him. Just go watch him. He had 1,200 yards this year, 8 touchdowns. The dude is a pure X wide receiver and was finally able to stay healthy. And then you go, Darnell Mooney. What the – Darnell Mooney had 942 yards this year.
Congrats.
If you go back and look –
so did 30 other guys.
I mean, Kirk Cousins was looking like, oh, Kirk goes back. It was late in the game, and Darnell Mooney is just in the slot cooking, dude. There was – if you look at the yards of separation throughout the NFL this year, you know who number 1 is? It's Darnell Mooney. The man just cooks people. I love Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, but at this point in their career, going into next season with Michael Penix, I think Drake London, Darnell Mooney, and Michael Penix, I'm taking that over Baker, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin. Now, could I be wrong? Absolutely, but I'm very high on Drake London, what he could do this year, and same with Darnell Mooney, especially if they get Bijan going. That offensive scheme that's been going on in Atlanta, A 5-year-old toddler could have done a better job than what Arthur Smith did. And then even Raheem Morris this year. They don't frequently get the backs involved. But when they throw it to Drake London, the motherfucker comes down with the ball. And Darnell Mooney, I think, is one of the more underrated wide receivers in football. If Chris Godwin didn't get hurt last year, I'd be like, okay, but Chris Godwin, this is not his third major. This is his third major injury. So going into next year, I think Darnell Mooney's going to be the more productive wide receiver. I think he's going to be able to be on the field more. And I just like the Falcons wide receiver duo more than this point. And the Commanders, that Terry McLaurin's great. Deebo Samuel should never put a duo as far as a wide receiver into the top 5. So that's my list, boys. Hate the Falcons all you want. Believe me later.
Klotzy, my biggest gripe, I'm going to let Boone handle the Falcons one. How can anyone in their right mind have the Eagles at 4, dude?
Like I said,
you are one of the biggest AJ Brown glazers I know.
Exactly. So
inconsistent.
When I look at these wide receiver ones, I'm weighing them, and then I'm weighing the wide receiver 2 as well. When I look at AJ Brown and Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think they are pretty much, as far as what they can do, obviously AJ's a little bit more talented. When you look at production, it goes to Amon-Ra. So at this point, after last season, what we saw from AJ Brown, what we saw from Amon-Ra St. Brown, I now think they're on pretty much the same damn level. It's hard to separate either of them. When I look at what Devontae Smith did last year compared to what Jamison Williams did last year,
well,
I'm taking Jamison Williams. You're pulling hairs. It's pulling hairs. But if you're asking me going into next year, which wide receiver duo am I taking? I'm taking the Lions.
You're taking I'm
taking Lions over Eagles.
You're taking Devontae Smith over Jamison Williams, or excuse me, Jamison Williams over Devontae Smith.
Yes, it's close. And I'm taking Jordan Addison over Jamison Williams.
So Jordan Addison's a better wide receiver than Devonta Smith.
Yes.
What?
No, don't even, no.
I mean, let's just call spade.
Let's go through Jordan Addison's career as a wide receiver, okay? Because you're going to pull up Devontae Smith as winning the Heisman in Alabama. He was the best pure wide receiver for back-to-back years, winning Biletnikoff Award, steps into the NFL as a wide receiver 2, puts up 10 touchdowns and 900 yards right next to Amon-Ra St. Brown, or Justin Jefferson, and TJ Hawkinson, who was getting fed. He's a better route runner than Devontae Smith. He's a better deep threat. He's bigger, and they have about the same equal as hands. Devontae Smith can go up and get a jump ball. Not saying that he can't, but if you're asking me, Hail Mary, throw it down there.
No, Hail Mary.
This isn't what the list is. Not top 5 Hail Mary wide receivers. Klotz, what does winning a Biletnikoff Award have to do?
To win a slant route?
A college award. Hold on. What does a college award have to do with your top 5?
Because when you say
in the NFL?
when Jeff says what? That's just, it tells me right away that people, and that's what I said, people do not understand how good Jordan Addison is because
no, we do. He's in the top 5. He's in the top 5.
I'm sorry?
He's in the top 5, so people do understand. Just because someone has him over doesn't mean it's like, hey, it's degrading him. No one understands it. He's still good.
If Devontae Smith and Jordan Addison both hit the open market, speaking of that, there would be a line for Devonta Smith to be their wide receiver.
He's been in the NFL longer. Jordan Addison is
better.
like 2 years.
Yeah,
if you're asking me who would be a better wide receiver one on their own, we have seen Devonta. No, so why? Okay, you're going to say that. Then why did the Eagles bring in AJ?
You could put him on the same. You know what? I'm switching with Klotzy. You could put him on the same level. I think it's the same level at the end of the day. Like you're arguing to me, it's like arguing like
who's the better pure wide receiver? It's Jordan Addison compared to Devontae Smith.
Because now I'm looking at my wide receiver rankings.
Who's going to win go routes more? Who's going to win curl routes more? Not saying that Devontae Smith can. It's Jordan Addison. You look at his route running. He's a more fluid route runner. He's a bigger wide receiver. They have about the same level of hands. Devontae Smith is very good. But if Jordan Addison was a wide receiver one, he would be more productive than Devontae Smith because he can do more, and they're about the same as far as athleticism.
I can't believe it.
I'm at the point here. I'm not going to say one's better than the other. I think they're at a very similar level. I think when you rank them, I think it goes to, hey, who's the better wide receiver one? Because I think as wide receiver twos, they're both very similar. Like when you're talking about the production and what they get your team and what they provide, then I think you just go to wide receiver one. Like my list, like I just looked at, all right, those two, they're very similar. Both. I write down both their stats. We know what you're getting out of both of them. and what type of wide receivers they are, all right, who has a better wide receiver one? It's like, to me, it's your pick between Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. That literally,
that was literally my explanation. I said Jamison Williams, Devontae Smith, and Jordan Addison are all very similar tiers. So I'm weighing the wide receiver. I literally said that. And I said, so I'm weighing the wide receiver ones. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown going into this year just slightly more than A.J. Brown because of what I saw in 2024.
I like A.J. or Amon-Ra before everyone.
Love A.J. Brown.
No,
but I think I said he was better than Amon-Ra going into last year. I'm switching it this year. There was a full year of 2024 to watch. It's not inconsistency. It's okay. What happened last year? What's your take going into 2025?
Did you see the Super Bowl play he made?
Absolutely.
I mean,
he's a great. He's
no,
a
that's tough. You can't do that because
if
Jordan Addison's in the Super Bowl, he's probably making a Super Bowl.
I'm just saying, Devonta Smith. It would be if I think 90% of the GMs in the league would take him over Jordan Addison to be their number one.
I
do.
The only pushback Klotz should be getting right now is the blasphemy of putting the Falcons at 5th. Like they're just, it's like Darnell Mooney. There's 30, 40 guys in the NFL who have 900 yards in the season. Like, yes, he's good. Like, dude, he's an NFL wide receiver. He should be creating separation. He should be making those plays. He should be getting 900 yards as a wide receiver too, if you want to be put in these conversations. But you're telling me Mike Evans at his best, who only played in 13 games or something this year, and still had 1,000. And what did Darnell like? Okay, Chris Godwin, who played in 6 or 7 games, Klotz, and had 500 or 600 yards. Like, those are two guys, and you're someone too. This is what shocks me, who has stood on a pedestal for Chris Godwin, has gone to bat for Chris Godwin, has said, and you've never brought up the injuries once. You've never downgraded or looked down on Chris Godwin. Within the last couple of weeks, we've had conversations about Chris Godwin, and you said that he needs to go out there and he should be getting paid money as a wide receiver one. And all of a sudden you're going to say, give me Darnell Mooney over Chris Godwin, who averaged 20 more yards per game than him, that if he played the same amount of games as Chris Godwin or as Darnell Mooney, he would have over 1,400 yards. He was on pace. If he played in every game this year, he would have been on pace for almost 1,500 yards. And you're talking about comparing him to a guy who couldn't even crack 1,000. And in 7 games, he had 5 touchdowns. What did Darnell Mooney have in 16 games? How many touchdowns?
He had 5 touchdowns.
Okay, and you were talking about 6 or 7 games for Chris Godwin. They shouldn't be on the same pedestal. Their names shouldn't be brought up in the same conversation. Klotz, I love you. This is one where the 5, needs to move, and it needs to be the Bucs. To me, there's no argument to it. Like, if you're going head to head, even if you want to go Chris Godwin and Drake London and then go Mike Evans and Darnell, you're not putting Darnell Mooney near Mike Evans, even Mike Evans at his age. So to me, it's like those two guys are, and again, I'm with you. Darnell Mooney is very underrated. That doesn't mean he just gets to get put in the top 5. Does it? So that I don't think there's zero. I love you so much, Klotzy.
I know, Boone.
That was,
and I know you're not going to agree with me. I want you to just hear me.
No one
out.
should. I think it should be a 0% hit rate. You know, like in politics, they're like, hey, what's the what is that thing they call like your popularity rate or your hit rate? Like I don't know. I keep
like
seeing
the polls, like the polls.
I keep you would be at 0%. You would be at 0.
No, Boone. But here's my thing. Okay, now this is my rebuttal. Okay, and you're not going to agree with it. I can tell already. What I look at when I look at Drake London and Darnell Mooney, Drake London was a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL this year. I think at this point in their careers, take out their whole careers, I'm talking about 2025, Drake London, in my opinion, will be a better wide receiver than Mike Evans. That doesn't mean Mike Evans is washed. He can't play. You look at Chris Godwin. Again, he has blown his knee up 3 times. He is now destroyed his ankle. In my opinion, Booner, again, I know what you said about Chris Godwin. I know what I've said about Chris Godwin in the past. You give Darnell Mooney, who has had Justin Fields in Chicago, where no wide receiver got even close to 1,000 yards, and then you put him in a situation in Atlanta where he's a semi-good quarterback for a little bit in Kirk Cousins, and then he has Michael Penix come in. We all agreed that was a fuck situation. Puts up 942 yards and 5 touchdowns. I look at the Atlanta Falcons next year. They're going to have consistent quarterback play. They have a quarterback with a strong arm that's going to be able to get the ball down to Drake London and Darnell Mooney, who's a deep threat. But Darnell Mooney is going to get 70 to 80 catches, can be close to the 900, 1,000 yards this year, probably 5 to 6 touchdowns. But Drake London's going to be a 1,400-yard guy. And when you, again, projecting at the end of 2025, those two will be a little bit more productive than Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. It's not going to be by a long shot. But again, I like what Atlanta's got going on right now at the wide receiver and quarterback position. It's not best in the NFL, but I think I don't hate what you're saying, Boone.
We could make another bet at some point. I guarantee you, like, Darnell Mooney's not going to come. Like, he's not going to have more.
He has been the same receiver for the last 4 seasons. He just has not. There's been, especially if you go back, there's a probably.
So you just expect out of nowhere that all of a sudden, like, yeah, he's gonna be the same guy as he usually is.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, if you look, he's been the same wide receiver for 4 years, and you see a 400-yard jump when he's finally in Atlanta. If you go back, especially 2022 and 2023, there's about a 2 to 3 minute highlight reel of Darnell Mooney cooking people. And the ball is
that's Klotz. You're arguing.
We'll be able to get him that ball.
I know he can cook people. Like every top 30 wide receiver in the NFL can cook someone.
He's one of the best route runners in the NFL.
Listen.
You can.
Jeff, who's your number? You have the Falcons at number 6.
No, I would give the McLaurin and
not even 6
and Debo. What? But what I'll say, the reason why I have the Bucs at 5 is because I would take Drake London over Mike Evans, but as a duo, I'm going with the Bucs. Like as a duo, as a 2-2, I would take the Bucs. But like Drake London is a dog. Like
I'll allow you to switch.
No one's denying he's a dog.
No.
Because I'm going to switch my list because I messed my list up. So there's going to be a change to my list. And you know what? I'm going to give credit to something when my list. Can we look at my list? We went through this whole segment and say, hey, did Booner not have a list? Klotz?
Well, we had some.
So I had a long day today. Didn't have a lot of time to go through my list. I had an hour and a half drive. Got back to the office here. And I go, okay, I got to throw a list together. I love my list besides one team. And as I'm sitting here listening to Lukas Klotz, and this is where Klotzy, so me and you, we yell at each other a lot. I'll give you credit where credit is due when you say, hey, ball knower. Sometimes at the start of your list, you're a ball knower. At the back of your list, you're the farthest thing from a ball knower.
I'll take the compliments where I can get them, Boone.
So throw my list up, and before people get mad about my list, I would like you to take number 4. And I would like you to move it all the way up to number 1.
What?
I would like you to move it.
Why you're the leader of the Booner path right there.
All the way up to number 1. I see Tyler Chevet already said trash list, slappy list. Tyler, buddy, you don't know what you're talking about.
Tyler chirping.
You don't know what you're talking about, Tyler. Hey, I'm the one on the show, and you're the one listening, as Doc would say.
It's my turn.
It is my turn. No, shout out Tyler. No, I would like to put the Rams first. To be honest, I text Jeff. I said because I threw this together pretty fast. I'm pretty confident in my Lions, Vikings, Eagles, Tampa. Like I love that. Like I get Justin Jefferson. I'm not, and this is one of those things where it could get clipped. People, I'm not taking. I'm not saying Justin Jefferson's a better wide receiver than Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jornette. But what I'm saying is going into this next year, what I saw out of Jameson Williams, boys, the 1,000+ yards, the 8 touchdowns that he had, and only like 50 catches. Going forward, in my opinion, and maybe this is just me because I'm a Lions fan and I'm a slappy. I'm taking J-Mo. I am. I think J-Mo's going to end up taking that step, jump forward. And Klotz, I know we were arguing about the price and all that. I still think he's going to be a wide receiver 2 price, but I think he's going to be the best wide receiver 2 price at some point in the NFL here at some point. I said point multiple times there. But you guys see what I'm saying here when it comes to that? Like I think this is that year where we got to see 2 years of J-Mo where it's like, okay, and now this year he's about to step up. And I think there's a chance. And this is where me and Jeff get into the antics about, how many yards are there to go around? J-Mo had 50 catches, boys. 58 catches and 1,000 yards. That out of all these players, like I can name all these players. Chris Godwin had 50 catches and had 576. He had 8 more catches and double the yards. So you get J-Mo a couple more touches throughout this next year, he's going to go for 1,200 yards. And there's a chance like, hey, Amon-Ra might not get 115. He might get 110, but J-Mo's getting 65. And J-Mo's going for 1,250, 1,300 off 65, 70 catches. So that's where I look at it. Like, I don't think I have to argue with you boys about Amon-Ra St. Brown being at the top.
No.
I think that him being back-to-back all-pro seasons, first-team all-pro this last year,
Well,
he's so consistent. If he wanted to, he could go out there and get 1,800 yards if he really wanted to. But in the offense he's in, there are so many weapons, so many different things he can do. The number one thing, though, with the Rams and Klotz, this is where you kind of got me. I'm looking at the stats here and just thinking about it. Like, we haven't seen a regression in Davante Adams. The only time we saw it was with the Raiders because he didn't have a quarterback. And even then, he was able to
1,500 yards and 14 tutties.
And it was really just more so they were losing. So, like, when you look at that, and it really was just at the beginning of the last year before he went to the Jets. So, if you look at Puka and Davante, those are still two of the best in the game. Like, some people could argue Davante's still top 10 in the NFL at his best. And I think all three of us would agree on that. And Puka, arguably top 5 wide receiver in the NFL right now. So you're talking about potentially if they're at their best 2 top 10s, like I think you have to have them at 1. I don't think there's I don't know why I put them at 4. I think that was a panic moment in my opinion. But the Rams would be number 1, Lions 2, and then Vikings and Eagles. This is where I kind of started to feel a little bit on Klotz's side, where I think the secondary wide receivers are kind of the same. They're pretty similar, but I would rather take Justin Jefferson over A.J. Brown 10 times out of 10 times. Like, Justin Jefferson's on a different level, in my opinion. I think A.J. Brown's at that level, top 5, but I think Justin Jefferson's 1-1 in the NFL, and no one's touching him. And no one will touch Justin Jefferson for a while. And then obviously my 5th here, the Buccaneers. I don't really need to break that one down that much. We know what Mike Evans is. I know he only had 1,000 this year, and it seemed like he was kind of pushing that, but only played 14 games because of a hamstring. Like, I think you're going to see Mike Evans next year 1,000. Klotz, one thing of this, the whole Buccaneers thing that we're not talking about is, like, yeah, Michael Penix is there in Atlanta. They have Baker Mayfield. Like, Baker is a very good quarterback, and he helps those guys out a lot, and that's not taken away from them. But those guys are going to go out this season and be just as, if not even more productive, because last year both of them were dealing with injuries. And, like, they're like, Mike Evans isn't a guy that deals with constant injuries. You could say Chris Godwin and his knees, but if he comes out here this next year, like, would you be shocked if Chris Godwin ran or caught for like 1,200-1,300 yards? Not at all. Not at all. And then you have Mike Evans out there. If he plays a full season, 1,100, and they both of them combined for 20 touchdowns almost. Like, that's what they were on track for. They both were on track to go. Like, Chris Godwin is on track. Hold on, let me do the math. If he played every single game. Ready for this, Klotz?
Ready, boom.
I've got that number. Hold on. Let me just do some math here. He would have had 120 catches, 1,400 yards, and I mean, I might have done the math wrong there. He's not going to get 25 touchdowns, is he?
He would not, Boone. He was on an insane streak. Like, he was like one of the wide receivers.
You know what? Fuck it. Yeah. He was on pace for 12.
He was on pace for 12 touchdowns. He was on pace for 12 touchdowns. I doubled it. But he was on pace for 1,400 yards, 120 catches, and 12 touchdowns. Like, this is where it's like they're at 5, and that's one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL. Like, if you rank the whole NFL, like, what you throw the Bengals in here, and I still probably have Tampa Bay at 6 or 7. Like, and you just push the Bengals in wherever you want to slot them, probably at number 1. So that's mine there. And again, I just want to let the people know the Rams are actually number 1, not number 4 on my list.
That boy, Boone.
I
We could break bread there, Boone.
What do you think? Mine?
I mean, if we're gonna get to the real here, Boone. If you really want me to, give you my big issue here.
You don't like the Lions at 2.
I hate it.
You had them at 4.
So where do you think at
Wait, I had him at 4
compared to Jordan Addison
at 3.
Where do you think that is?
At what?
J-Mo
I think going this next year, I think in 2025, J-Mo's going to be better than Jordan Addison.
By a lot or no?
I think it's gonna be clear. Like even this year, they played the same amount of games. J-Mo had over 200 more yards, and he had less catches, and he had 8 touchdowns, and Jordan Addison had 9. So it was like they're right there. And Jordan Addison, what? Like you said, this is my words, not yours. He's been in the league longer. Like I think J-Mo. I think this is the year, and like all the things that J-Mo was dealing with. Who has?
J-Mo.
Maybe the same
Jordan
amount.
Addison's only been 2 years.
Okay, no, they've been in the league at the same time because J-Mo had the injury that he was going through. How about that? Huh? Let's talk about
19
that.
touchdowns, Jordan.
But
Addison.
I just think this year, like J-Mo has a higher ceiling, in my opinion. And I think this is the year where you see J-Mo take a step. So that's why in this, and it's the same thing with Devontae Smith, in my opinion. I take a J-Mo over, and then I think Amon-Ra, obviously he's not. Above Justin Jefferson, but I think he's close enough to where I think the last 2 years, my top 4 wide receivers would be Justin Jefferson, and in no order, but just like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, and AJ Brown. Those are the top 4 guys in the NFL now, and they're at that level. So it's like, all right, I'm putting them both at that level, and I think J-Mo's going to be better, so I put him above.
I'm not going to hate the J-Mo over Jordan Addison take, but I think when you look at, okay, maybe Amon-Ra, if you want to call him a top 3 wide receiver, don't hate it. I think Puka's number 3. The gap between 3 and 1 is exponentially larger than J-Mo and Jordan Addison. Like, Justin Jefferson is on a tier of his own. Maybe Jamar Chase is hanging right here. Gap, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, AJ Brown, however you want to rank them. But that gap is much, much larger than Jordan Addison, Jameson Williams. So I would just switch them. I'd switch the order. I'm not gonna
agree to disagree.
Die on the hill. We'll agree to disagree, yes. But the Vikings are the better wide receivers.
I think Amon-Ra, and my bad, real quick, Jeff. I just think Amon-Ra, like there's a side of it to where he doesn't get as much credit. I think there's a few, like one thing I think, and we do it, and I think there's a moment of you doing it here a little bit, Klotz, where I think as he plays for I think there's still that, hey, he's wearing a Lions uniform. And I know you could say, well, Kelvin John, there's something like, I think Amon-Ra, like if he wasn't with the Lions and he was putting up the production he was, but hear me out. Let me finish my point here, Jeff Enriquez Iafrate.
Go on.
The offense that this guy is on with Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams, David Montgomery. That offense is 100 times better than what the Vikings got going on. Now, if you want to talk A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra, I said last summer that Amon-Ra was better than A.J. Brown. I'll stay and stand on that. I'm really more so just talking about the Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown thing.
Did you just use the offense to prop up Amon-Ra?
I'm saying he doesn't get as many opportunities.
Like that. The dude's on a historic offense. If anything, people would use it.
Opportunities.
They have the most yards. I mean, they literally.
Yes, but he's got a lot of players surrounding him that need the rock as well.
Dude, I could say that's what I've been trying. Oh, but when I bring up the Eagles, well, they had a 2,000-yard rusher.
So get why Amon-Ra doesn't get that much credit. I think it's disrespectful.
No, I love Amon-Ra.
Man's back-to-back years, all-pro, like, top 5 wide receiver back-to-back years. We're not talking NFC either.
The disrespect. It's like I will give you the Rams. Okay, I'm not going to fight you too much on the Rams. If you want the Vikings, it's like Justin Jefferson's so great. I mean, yeah. The Eagles are just getting and I hate to do this. Like, I hate to defend the Eagles, but it's like, why is Devontae Smith? People act like, so you guys are saying he's third when you talk about Jordan Addison and Jameson Williams. You put Devontae Smith third on that. That is ridiculous. I know we're Lions. Why? I get it. Why? I understand we're Lions. Like, we're not supposed to like the Eagles. Devontae Smith is a better number 2 and would be a better number 1 than any of those guys. Like, even J-Mo. I love J-Mo. What does J-Mo do better than Devontae Smith?
Better down the field threat. He's more elusive after the catch.
Period.
No, after the catch, he had more consistent hands this year.
More consistent hands?
If you let
hands? You didn't bring up hands.
Hold on, Devontae Smith
you didn't bring up hands.
He's the number 1 wide receiver in Philadelphia. Correct or incorrect? Correct, because they took him top 15. He was the Heisman Trophy winner. They saw what Devontae Smith was at a wide receiver 1. He's like, okay, that's not a wide receiver 1. We need to go get a wide receiver 1. Hey, Tennessee, what's A.J. Brown cost? Mike Vrabel, we're not trading for A.J. Brown. Howie Roseman, bring A.J. Brown in. A.J. Brown comes in. Devontae Smith looks like the best he ever has. There was struggles with Devontae Smith going up against wide receiver ones, throwing him around because he's so undersized. Jordan Addison's skinny, but he's a lot taller. Devontae Smith is a really good route runner, great route runner. He has solid hands. He can go up and get a jump ball every now and then. But if you look at what Jameson Williams, Jordan Addison, and Devontae Smith could do, ceiling, Devontae Smith, he has a good ceiling. It does not touch Jordan Addison or Jameson Williams.
Touch? Klotz?
No.
Klotz?
No.
Klotz, he almost had 100 catches a year ago. Not this past year, the year before that. Like, this is a guy who has hands. He's down the field threat. He's a silky smooth route runner. He does a lot of things well. Actually, really well.
But if you ask him, he does a lot of things well. You're acting like I'm saying he doesn't. But if you're asking me, who can do more? Who can do more?
Devontae, no question.
That's
no question. It would be Devonta Smith. There's not even I don't think there's anyone outside of the NFC North that would say that. There's no way. There is no way.
You could be saying that in Jeff's mind. There's no way. But there is not. No way. Even your GOAT. Do you think Steve Smith Jr. would take Jordan Addison or Jameson Williams over Devonta Smith? Maybe not J-Mo. I would be willing to bet 1,000% he'd take Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison is one of the purest. If you're talking about a wide receiver, he's smooth, he's fast, he's one of probably top 10 route runner right there with Devontae Smith. But when you look at who for the first 2 years he's been a wide receiver too, and you look at Devontae Smith last year, he's more productive than Devontae.
He
had 1,000 yards damn near, playing next to Justin Jefferson with 10 touchdowns. Dude. Jordan Addison's going to get you more yards. He's going to give you Devontae Smith will get more catches. Devontae Smith is going to give you more catches. Jordan Addison will give you more yards and more touchdowns. Ask yourself, why is he getting more yards? Jordan Addison has played with Kirk Cousins, who's a consistent 4,500-yard passer. Sam Darnold, who's a 4,000-yard passer. Oh, yeah, Jalen Hurts, who's never thrown for 4,000. And they run the ball with the 2,000-yard running back. And he runs the ball. Jalen Hurts runs the ball. How many years has
had better years than Jordan Addison and Jameson Williams?
Let me ask you this. How many years has Jordan Addison been in the NFL?
2.
What happened to Kirk Cousins week 5 last year? Did he tear his Achilles? He had Nick Mullins. He had Josh Dobbs. He had Kirk Cousins for 5 weeks. He hasn't had Jalen Hurts.
But
he hasn't had the beneficiary of
Kevin
having
O'Connell's system
in a play action game.
They throw the ball a shit ton. They throw it. It doesn't matter, but they throw it. I mean, Nick Mullins had 400 yards against the Lions. I get it's Nick Mullins, but they throw the ball. Jalen Hurts, has he ever thrown for 400?
How many turnovers do you think Jalen Hurts has compared to Nick Mullins?
What's the turnovers? It's production.
Staying on the field, converting touchdowns, and the other team getting the ball. They have not had. This man has had probably 4 quarterbacks.
What about passing touchdowns? How many passing touchdowns has Hurts had?
And hold on. Let's
go
back even further.
Answer that
one. Want to use the quarterback. Where did Devontae Smith go to college? Alabama. Where did Jalen Hurts go to college? They played together. They have been together for a little while. So the chemistry. This man has had Nick Mullins. He had 4 weeks to say, "Oh my God." Nope. I will take Jordan Addison.
He got locked up by Terrion Arnold.
Who's better, Terrion or Quinyon?
Go watch. That's a completely different discussion.
Well, you're saying who else got locked up that week? Justin Jefferson. So I want you to go look at what Jordan Addison.
Can I give a stat real quick?
That Eagles offense to put up 1,100.
Can I ask a question? And listen. This is just me. I'm a non-biased middle ground here right now. Don't think about my list. I'm just looking at my paper here, and I'm just starting to notice something. I would like to ask both of you. I'm going to ask you guys a couple questions. I'm going to give you guys a little statement, and then I'm going to tell you guys who wins this argument between you two. I would have first question for you both. Where would you guys both this last year put AJ Brown? What number in the
going into last year?
No, like last season, like top 5, where would you guys put him?
I mean, he's a top 5 guy, but he didn't have it. I'm going to say just top 10 because he's a top 5 guy, but he didn't have like an AJ Brown type of year.
I know if you're going to use the stats from last year, that's irrelevant.
I'm
Jalen
starting to
Hurts
think.
had one of his
I'm
worst
trying to look
passing
at
years.
some of these things, and I'm like,
That's not fair because Jalen Hurts, he barely threw the ball, dude.
yeah, but
threw
I
it.
mean, it's still like,
Now let's
if
do
you
a
want to
different
use that
question.
argument,
If the GM
and then
was
you look at
drafting
what
wide
Devontae,
receivers, he would
what
be a top
Devontae
5
did.
receiver drafted in a fantasy draft for like GM.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at this
He
is
would
where
be
it's
like
like
a top 6, top 5.
I don't
guy,
know what
man.
side I'm going to choose because I had Jordan Addison above, and I said they're on the same level. But as I'm looking at it, like just like my point with the Rams, Klotzy, I saw yours and I moved the Rams up. I'm seeing here like the point of they didn't pass the ball very much at all. Devontae had basically outside of I don't know, maybe it was like 100 or 200 yards almost on the dot, more catches than AJ Brown and the same touchdowns. Like that's where it's like I'm starting to see that a little bit with the AJ, with Devontae and Addison. Like Devontae, I'm seeing I'm switching sides here a lot. I know.
Addison had he had multiple games of multiple touchdowns.
I know, but it's just like if you're looking at the stats, like it's a little. If you're like looking at Devontae and AJ,
And here's the thing, like True Teller, he says, so if Jeff, if the Eagles don't prioritize the pass, how are they a top 3 unit? So you're telling me because of the offense they're in, you're gonna discredit the player? I'm not doing that.
I think as the player, you can look at it.
What are they? So they're not top 5 then? They don't pass the ball.
Like that's why we had with Chris Godwin. Like
thing
Chris
ever.
Godwin played 5 games or 7 games, and I'm still putting him in the top 5 because of the player he is. Like I know who he is.
That's why like take out the offense, take out like just player to player in a draft scenario. Like if we did wide receiver 2 drafts, this is where we all disagree. In my opinion, besides Devontae Adams, I guess he'd probably go 1 as a wide receiver 2. Devonta Smith's going next. Like he's right there. Like that's why I disagree with like Jordan Addison and J-Mo. Like I just don't think they would go ahead if you told GM pick a free wide receiver 2. They're not taking Jordan Addison or J-Mo over Devonta Smith. No GM would do that. Besides whoever the Vikings is and whoever the Lions, Brad Holmes maybe. Actually, Brad would probably think about it. Like,
but my thing is like it's crazy we're having this conversation, but it's a close conversation. Devonta Smith's in year 4, about to be on his 5th-year option. Well, not on 5th year going into it. Jordan Addison's in year 3. He's going in like he hasn't even touched his prime yet. Devonta Smith has been in his prime. Devonta Smith, very good wide receiver, but the thing is with Devonta Smith, especially we're talking about fantasy football drafts.
well,
One
like
of the more
hypothetical
inconsistent
draft.
wide receivers in the NFL.
What'd you say?
As far as stars, he's one of that's the thing with Devonta Smith. He's really good one week and then he disappears for 2 to 3. 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. 4 catches, 30 yards. 5 catches, 50 yards. 6 catches, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, I just think at this point in his career, especially with the amount of attention forced on A.J. Brown down the field, he's kind of like, he's a slot guy. Like, he can push down the field. He's not just a slot guy, but he's a type of receiver to get you 100 catches in that. But he's still inconsistent compared to a guy like a deep down the threat. I'd rather give me more of a guy that can play outside on the X and is still to that same talent.
All right, we can end it there. We'll probably go.
Good debate, though, boys. I love
yeah,
debate.
and again, a lot of this you factor in other things. I know people are like True Teller in the chat, like so player to player doesn't matter, even if it's what they produce. Like you take in account everything, but like I'm not gonna knock the Eagles down out of my top 5 or like 5 because of the offense they're in. Like that doesn't. You know what I mean? I'm just personally, you can do that.
No,
True Teller on your list. I can't. Like or quarterbacks, for example, like Chad Johnson back in the day. Never had great quarterbacks, all right? But Ocho, you put that man in conversations. You know what I mean? That you put that man in top wide receiver conversations. I don't – because you look at, well, what could he produce? I don't know. Whatever. It's how you'd rank it. But it was a good conversation. All right, Lions are one of the best. We know that. We'll come out with our NFL one the next couple of days, probably tomorrow. I'll make it. We'll have our crunch time. We're going to have to do a little group project where we do our crunch time top 10. We'll see where the Lions rank in the NFL. But that's the NFC. That's just this conference. So we'll see where that goes. But all right, we got more to get to here. I know we spent a lot of time on that, but so we have 2 options here. We can do Mel Kiper's mock.
Let's do Klotzy's guy.
Or we can do Klotzy's
We
guy.
can't keep pushing Klotzy's guy. We were supposed to do it Tuesday. We pushed it.
Yeah,
Doc was Wednesday.
I'm excited for this.
We got to get Klotzy's guy in.
I want Klotzy to tell me about who he has for today, Klotzy. This is a big man.
A monster. Okay, a monster.
Talk to me, Klotzy. Who do we got?
Ariante Dorsey. Okay, remember the name. And I shout out to as a former Patriots offensive lineman, he creates content. But he put out a film breakdown, and I was like, oh my God, this guy can do it all, fellas. He's 6'6", 331 pounds out of the University of Minnesota. And Jeff, if you want to, real quick.
Yeah.
He's 6'6", 331 to pull up the RAS score at the combine, because what does Brad Holmes love? RAS scores. What do I love? 6'6", 331 pounds that can move. He's not just 6'6" and big and unsturdy, can't keep his hips. No, this man is an athlete. And when you look at what he did in Minnesota, he gave up 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit all year. Came against Michigan and Mason Graham. Surprise, surprise. But when you look at what he can do athletically, he jumps off. He was one of the more elite guys at the athleticism column at the combine. When it comes to the 40-yard dash, he was right behind Membu, Will Campbell. That's it. So when you look at him, you watch the tape, and I sit here and I think of the lack of pure tackles in this draft. We talk about there's a lot of guys like Membu, Will Campbell, Kelvin Banks that are really good offensive linemen, but you're like, can they play tackle? Can they play guard? They can do both. No. Okay, when you get Ersley, that man's a tackle, and he's not moving anywhere. And I brought up the sack against Michigan. Okay, this is where I really fell in love with Ersley. Jeff, if you can go back to the Slack, and I want you to pull up this man's film against Abdul Carter, the #1 player on the defensive side of the ball in college football last year. Boone, I want you to guess for me. How many pressures did Abdul Carter have against Ariante Dorsey? Guess.
2. 0.
Ding, ding, ding. How many sacks did he
0.
have?
Well, if he had 0 pressure,
Ding, ding,
0
ding.
sacks.
Man is good, okay? Not so good that he won the Big Ten Offensive Lineman of the Year. And I understand that when you look at it, okay, when you look at the linemen, it's in the SEC. But no, if you look at the offensive linemen that were added in the Big Ten this year, you got Josh Connolly out there. There's a lot of Michigan has a ton of good offensive linemen. Ohio State has a ton of good offensive linemen. Over the last 3 years, he has allowed 3 sacks. 1 this year, 2 the year prior, and 0 his first year. Kind of weird, but when you're going up against better guys, they're going to be testing a little bit more. He got a lot more volume. Like I said, elite pass protector, and he's big and he's nimble. He can move. He's a brick shithouse. Okay, Jeff, we've seen enough of the Abdul Carter film. Let's see his Senior Bowl film of the guys that he was going up against just a couple of weeks ago, because there's a ton of notable names that are especially mocked to the Detroit Lions, even in the first round. And he's a brick shit house. He doesn't move. You can try to move him, but you just can't. He's too big. He's too athletic. Mike Green right here. I love Mike Green. Stood him completely up. You're not moving. You're not touching my quarterback. Mike Green again. Or no, this is Walker, David Walker, whatever his name. Landon Jackson.
But look at
touching him.
That's Mike Green.
Mike Green right there. Stand him up again. But you see, that's Landon Jackson again. Landon Jackson wanted more, throwing you to the ground. You're not touching my quarterback. He does not give up leverage. He's just too big, too athletic, and he's supposed to be taken in the 2nd and 3rd round. And I seriously, I cannot figure out why. When I look at Ariante Dorsey, like I said, I would put him behind Josh Simmons as the best pure tackle. But again, pure tackle-wise, I'm taking him over Gray Zabel. And I'm taking over Josh Connolly, especially the fact of where you can get him. Zabel and Connolly are projected to be in the back of the 1st round. You're going to find Dorsey in the middle of the 2nd round, late 2nd round to the beginning of the 3rd round. So there is no way that anymore. I'm talking about tackle in the 1st round. You want to go get a tackle? You'll get Ariante Dorsey out of Minnesota in the 2nd and 3rd round, because he is the steal of the draft. And my favorite one, boys, I know I kind of went out of order, but he's All-State insurance. You're safe in his hands. Taylor Decker struggles. You want to get rid of him? Perfect, because this is a guy that could start on multiple offensive lines across the NFL day one. If you take him in the 2nd and 3rd round and you let him sit a year behind Taylor Decker, get coached up by Hank Fraley, Penei Sewell and Ariante Dorsey will be one of the more dominant tackle duos for the next 8 to 10 years. Jared Goff, whoever that quarterback is, they're not getting touched from the tackle position. You can put him at left or right tackle. He played a little bit of both through his college career, played 4 years as a senior, so he's a little bit older than Will Campbell and Membu. Maybe that's why he's falling. But I watched the tape. I watched the production. He was the best lineman in the Big Ten last year. And I don't see how this guy is not a first-round draft pick. So it's not somebody I would take in the first round because I don't think that's immediate need. But this guy is a first-rounder without a doubt. So I love Ariante Ursi. Like I said, going to be the steal of the offensive line class this year.
Yeah, I mean 6'6", 331. I mean this dude's doing crazy.
What's Giovanni Manu?
He's 6'8", 350. He's not touching that,
Okay.
but still, I mean, it's cute for sure. I mean, listen, 1 sack allowed in 12 games. He's obviously very good. I mean, if you're a Gopher, I mean, and your name's Ariante, it's a badass name, by the way. I like it.
Didn't know how to
Yeah,
pronounce it
man.
first. Had to go to the film.
What round are we taking him in?
Second, third.
All right, if he's there in the third, I would say, all right, let's pull the trigger.
I don't think he will be.
All right, move up.
Yeah, you might need to move up.
You got 101.
I think about it like this, Boone. Take defensive lineman, first round. Get Ursi, defensive lineman, third round. Wide receiver. Go back to the D line. Go to the O line. There you go.
My gosh.
You still double up on that. You just take the mammoth that's going to be sitting behind Taylor Decker for a year. You let him sit. Like I said, he can play day one. You let him sit and tune up. Boys. This is a guy that I wouldn't buy. I don't buy offensive lineman jerseys, but you give me a 69 jersey that says Ursi on the back of it, I'm buying it right now. Right now.
Yeah, I looked him up, man. He does some crazy work. I didn't see the Abdul Carter film though. That's even more impressive. I mean,
zero pressure, Abdul had a sack in that game. So if you look at the stats, you go, but watch Abdul. He's lined up on the other side and he's cooking the other tackle. He went away from Ursi's side. Like over the last 3 years, he's given up 3 sacks. They've all come against Michigan. He has Michigan just sends the house and Minnesota struggles. Like if you're going to be giving up a sack, I would prefer it to be against Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, Josiah Stewart, and then those boys. Yeah,
usually they got those small, they're using Josiah smaller edges.
Like how many how many linemen can you say in this year's draft class has went up against Abdul Carter 3 times? Chop Robinson last year too as well.
Seen
Mason
NFL
Graham multiple times.
That's why the Big Ten is under. I mean, Big Ten, man, talk about defensive offensive linemen. They pump them out. That's the.
They do. That's where you want to get them if you are.
Yeah, you want those big fellas, man. And I like it. I don't mind, especially I think your biggest selling point is this doesn't have to be in the first round either. You can take them in the second, third round. Probably more so second, but
because I wouldn't be if the Lions were to take Gray Zabel in the first round, I wouldn't be mad because he doesn't have the versatility that Ursi does because he can play tackle and center. But pure tackles, he's behind Josh Simmons. I don't consider Membu, Kelvin Banks, Will Campbell pure tackles. I'm saying pure tackles. He's number 2.
He's not playing any position other than tackle. There's
correct.
No way.
Yeah, you're not.
I would say I would argue Membu is going to play tackle no matter what. But
there's conversation because he's 6'4".
I think there's conversations, but I think the conversations end up just being I guess
people are asking about Manu. Is it a wasted pick?
Yeah. No, okay, guys, and if you're new to the chat. Jeff, very high on Giovanni Manu. Booner, where would you say you are?
No.
Come on, Boone.
Listen, with Manu, I saw that video the other day and I went, Brad's got a plan.
Come on.
I think there's a plan set in place. Now, I do think it's crazy that this is where I'm at with it, Klotzy. Second, third round for offensive lineman. If you're going to get an offensive lineman, do what you did with Christian Mahogany. If a guy falls, snag him. If this guy falls in the third, fourth round and he's dropping, Christian Mahogany, we were he's a lock to go in the third. No one's, you might not even get him in the third. Sure. And then he falls and you get him in the fifth. So or the sixth actually. So if this guy falls, okay, that's a steal. You do it. If you're going to replace one of your guys, if you're going to make a move for an offensive lineman in the first 2 rounds, to me, just go get a dude. Go get a and I know this guy, he's a dude. Arante's a dude.
This is a dude.
But what I'm saying is go get your Josh Simmons. Don't just sit back and be let's just get Arante. No, go get someone. In my opinion, is this a Giovanni Manu move? Might be.
No, you did not just say
Jeff,
no, he's
Jeff,
not.
I
will say Manu is a project.
I'm trolling.
I'm probably not a project. He's not a project at all.
No, he could literally start day one. When you look at all of his draft reviews, they'll be He could start day one, could struggle a little bit early, but he's going to be a starter for the long time in the NFL. That's why I say you just stash him for a year.
Well, but I'll
Oh,
even
God.
say this, like, and although I like Manu, based on what Brad has said, if Irsay's up there, like if he's up on his draft board, dude's taking him. You know what I mean? Like it's just how they work.
High RAS
BPA.
score.
BPA, like he believes in that. I don't think Brad will be like, no, I'm gonna pass on a guy we really love because we have Manu. Like I don't think that would happen. So even though I like Manu, I'm just trying to see it through the lens of Brad Holmes. I don't think he would be like, oh, I'm good because we have Manu. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's not. I mean, it's different if you're like, we have Penei Sewell. We're not going to draft a right tackle, obviously. But like Manu.
I just view Giovanni Manu in similar light as Broderick Martin. I know Taylor Decker's got it. Yes, I do,
Not
Jeff.
yet.
And
Not yet.
Jeff, this man didn't play Division I, Division II, or Division III football.
Really interesting.
He played Canadian football in British Columbia, and we're going to ask him to go replace Taylor Decker and go up against guys in the NFL like Andrew Van Ginkel. Like, he's going to get worked.
Wait,
I'd rather have a
Broderick
guy
the year
that went up
before or
against
after
Abdul
Manu?
Carter for the last 3 years. He went up
Before,
against
one year.
Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant. Fuck no. Fuck no. I could be wrong,
Jordan
but I do not believe
Mailata.
in the Giovanni Manu project. I do not.
Jordan Mailata.
Okay. Name another Jordan Mailata.
Giovanni Manu. You set me up there, Klotz. Yeah.
Matthew Betts.
Yeah.
Matthew Betts.
Yeah.
That's don't do that to Matthew.
Yeah,
Betts.
that's tough.
Let's not do that.
It's a touchy subject.
It's a little
I like it. Good
disrespectful
job,
on your
Klotz.
end.
I like it.
That was a good pull, Klotzy, because no one's talked about him. Great pull from you.
Yeah, that Ariante Irsay. That's
Ariante Irsay.
that's
Big old 6'9". Come on,
Is he
now.
related to Jim Irsay?
You know what, Boone? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say no.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Why not?
Jim Irsay doesn't strike me as a Minnesota man.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
How do you know? I mean,
Maybe
the man's a billionaire. I mean, he might have,
He's a
sperm
Harvard
cells
guy.
everywhere.
Oh, Malik says
He said spoons.
Irsay. He says Irsay's another guard convert. Oh, but no doubt he could pick for either guard spot.
You don't put 6'6", 331.
Oh, no.
Called your ass out,
Oh,
Klotz.
no. Pure tackle. One of the only pure
Called
tackles
your
in the
ass
league.
out.
Oh, no. Is this true?
I'm not taking the bait. No.
Is that
Go
true?
read. He's Boone. He's 6'6", 331
Jeff.
pounds. Will
Jeff.
Campbell.
6'6".
How do you spell his name? I don't know how to spell it. Can
Klotz.
someone spell it for me?
Ariante. A-I-R.
It's like
Yeah.
Air
O-N.
Jordan, but Ariante.
Yo-N.
T-A-E.
Here it is. I got it. I just want to look at some tweets. Maybe I want to see if there's like some people saying, "Hey, guard." That'd be tough.
It's like
Oh, here he is. Ariante Irsay is a very athletic tackle. One of the best in the draft that could potentially be a very good guard for an NFL team in the future.
Klotz.
No.
He's like,
Oh no!
not for my.
I did
team.
my research. I know what I've read. I know what I've covered.
I love
He's
that.
Oh, right here. Someone said heavy-handed puncher, high-level hand fighter in tight spaces, plus athlete with quick feet. Big Ten offensive
Quick
lineman
feet.
of the year in 24. Think he could potentially bump inside and be an early starter at guard.
No, hey, Klotzy, those guys are doubters. That's all. That's
You
all.
put that man at tackle, and you say go to work.
Yep, go to work.
Oh man.
Well, hey, speaking of tweets, there's there's Tyler. Thanks for the $2, brother. He says put it towards anti-glaze training for Boone.
What's that? Oh, for Lions, yeah.
And
Hey, it's good to know. Tyler Chavez from Canada.
yeah, he knows what Giovanni
Manu
Manu can
lover.
bring. He
By
knows-
the
he
way,
knows-
before St. John starts for the people, I'm just going to throw a bet in here for St. John. Just give me the over.
little St. John's over.
I think that's what I put in. Let me check. I do have Michigan. I have 2 Michigan bets I put in. Put in 2. St. John's over 151 and a half.
Well, speaking of tweets, I saw this tweet. Jeff Risden, who's pretty reputable. Lions have very strong interest in UCLA edge Femi Oladejo. This is his Senior Bowl tape. I mean, like, if you guys remember, Russell Brown, who's one of the best at what he does
Big
in the
fan of
draft. Loves him. Scott, I think, loves him too. So Oladejo, he is from UCLA, was kind of a linebacker, outside linebacker converted to edge, and this year had 4 sacks. Very athletic. Obviously, you see the bend he has. I mean, and the power he plays with too. Like he can cause some damage. The reporting it, and you don't see this typically too often. So if Jeff's going to say this, Jeff Risdon, I would tend to lean that he has something. Like there's something he knows, because usually the Lions, you're not seeing like, oh, they're interested in so and so. Like they're usually keeping a lot of that in house.
Yeah.
So for him to report something like this, I mean, the dude's an athlete. There is no doubt. Like Tyler just said, he has some athleticism. Yeah, like a linebacker converting. He's got good size. He's like 6'3". 6'3". What is he like? Let me check his Femi. I know he's got the like I think he's like 250. So this could be kind of one of those,
he's a bigger edge. It looks like a bigger dude, like a tweener maybe.
Yeah, he's a 6'3", 250 converted edge. He had 4.5 sacks. Had a pick the year prior at linebacker, but
he was a linebacker to edge.
Yeah, linebacker.
He looks big. Am I crazy?
But he's big. You know,
move him.
Yeah, he's big. And Michael says Risdon doesn't bullshit. I'd pay attention for sure. Yeah, I mean, I trust Risdon. I do. He's been on the show before. Yeah, he's a pretty reliable source. So if obviously he does kind of fit, in my opinion, just seeing him and watching him play. It makes sense. It makes sense why the Lions would like him. If he checks the athleticism box, checks they look at upside. He converted to edge. He played pretty well at edge. They're looking at projection. Like, okay, maybe that's his full-time spot. Maybe he can be even better. I mean, he's 6'3", 250, which, I mean, is pretty good size. I mean, when you look at, I know people probably don't want to hear this, but I mean, Josh Pascal's 6'3", 274. So he's 6'3", 250, but he doesn't play like Josh. I think he's more of a pure edge. He's not a tweener. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
it depends. In my opinion, I don't know. I have to watch.
Josh is like 30 pounds heavier. Like Josh isn't as athletic as this dude. Like
I think if the Lions do take him, that's exactly why they didn't look at like Azeez Al-Jawari. Like he's somebody that would fill in kind of that James Houston void. But another thing, like coming from playing an off the ball linebacker at the line of scrimmage, he's going to be very smart. Like when you're on that off the ball, you're reading the linemen, seeing what their gaps are, looking at the quarterback. Like you're seeing a different perspective of the field. You can now go to the edge and you're like, okay, you're at a different perspective, but you remember the things from being an off the ball linebacker. So you're like, okay, he's made plays in the open field against running backs, against tight ends. So he's going to be good at chasing down running backs. If they got to drop him into coverage, which we saw Aaron Glenn do at some points during the season last year. Hell, he dropped DJ Reader and Ali McNeil into coverage. He's somebody that you can have some confidence building on his pass coverage. If he goes in the first 2 rounds, I honestly wouldn't love it because there's a lot of development. But you get him in round 3, boom, one of those guys that you say just kind of fall to you. Take him in round 3 or 4, you can't be mad at it because he's got something that a lot of this team does not, with athleticism at getting to the quarterback. Lions need to get a lot of guys like that, in my opinion. It doesn't have to be this draft, this offseason, but over the next couple of years, diversify their offensive line instead of just being power rushers.
Yeah, I think this is a good guy. Like if you're talking about you get a guy like at 28, you get like that edge at 28. And we've done it a lot in our drafts in the second, third round, get a second edge to kind of just solidify depth. And you're not expecting him to go out there instantly and make it like a massive impact, but a rotation type deal where it's like, hey, if someone gets injured, someone goes down, you're able to kind of have a guy like I literally watched 5 minutes of his film before the show, and I haven't like watched a lot of it, so I would like to see some more, to be honest.
Very raw, Boone.
He is. I mean, I'm looking at some things now. He had almost an 11% pass rush win rate, which it's 10.6 to kind of give you, like, he's a good run defender. Good. He's obviously as a pass rusher still getting better, but I mean, 11% probably isn't like spectacular. I mean, it's okay. Like I think Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle, had a slightly higher pass rush win rate. He was about 11, if I remember. James Pierce is in like his own stratosphere. I mean, he's like James double Pierce. That, I think. But
he would be like a good comp for him. Would be like might sound disrespectful, but he's only been playing the position for 1 year. Is like a Walmart Princely Umalayan. from Ole Miss, and I know I didn't pronounce that last name correctly, but their big speed rusher on the outside, like he plays very similar to him, but he's got to put on some weight, get a little bit more finesse to his game when it comes to getting the quarterback. But again, he's just one of those outside guys that can get, you just pin his ears back, get to the when it's 3rd and 1, you don't want him on the field, but when it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 9, you're like, hey, go make Caleb Williams uncomfortable, throw him on the field in that NASCAR package, let him go to work.
And I actually like Princely. With all due respect, I mean, he was on my top 10 edge rusher list.
I like him too.
But he has a 22.8% pass rush win rate, so over double what Olufemi Oladejo has. So
I like Princely.
But in terms of the size, your spot. I mean, I think they're about the same height and weight. To be honest with you, Klotzy. So you're not like build. They're about the same, but production, man. I mean, if they, I like him as a player, but if you're taking him in the 2nd round, let's just say hypothetically, I think he's like a 3rd round guy. Probably could go 4th, could go 2nd if someone loves him. He's kind of in that like day 2, day 3 type of thing. But if you take him, it's like, what do you see? What do you see in year 1 or year 2? You know what I mean? If he's a
2nd defensive end, I'm comfortable. My bad, Boone.
No, I was just gonna say if you're taking him in day 2, and like you guys are, he's raw, and I watched 5 minutes of him, but like I'm not gonna sit here and bang the table. Like if you're getting him in the 2nd round, like there are guys in the 2nd round, Klotz, I'll go Jordan Birch over him, sitting there thinking like, hey, that's a guy who I know year 1 can come in, and you're not gonna get like 7-8 sacks out of him, but you're going to get 3 or 4, and like you're going to get something out of Jordan Birch year 1. You're going to get something out of a Jared Ivey year 1. You're going to get something out of a Princely year 1. Like if we're talking about 2nd round guys, right? Like
like
that's the list you're talking about. So it's just like, hey, if someone reaches at him and wants to get him in the late 2nd, okay, like am I going to bang the table and be mad? No, like I think there are a list of edge rushers. Like I do think this is a very deep edge rush class or defensive line class as a whole. To where, like if he's sitting there in the 3rd at 101 and you really love him and the Lions really love him, I just don't want Brad to get into one of those moments. And obviously the reports are that they really like him, or what's like the exact report again?
That they like him. They really like him.
Yeah, like the thing is like with that, it's like there are these Brad guys. So it's like Brad really loved Giovanni Manu. Okay, what's he going to end up being? We don't even know, and he hasn't helped. He helped you year 1, so I just don't want to get in that point to where it's like, hey, if you're going to reach in the 2nd round, like I just hope he does it and he's able to help and produce in year 1 over guys like Jordan Birch or Jared Ivey. Like that's kind of my thought process on it.
Yeah, because you ideally like a best of both worlds where it's like a dude can give you something year 1 that's pretty positive, and then he'll only get better. Like a Princely or a Jordan Birch in the 2nd. Like, year 1 they'll give you something.
Yeah.
Even if they're not like, they might have 4 sacks, but like, okay, the next year it'll be 8. The next, like, they'll get better. Sometimes with project players, or especially a guy switching positions, and not saying I don't like him. I like the player. But I'm curious. I don't know what he kind of translates to. I saw someone put in the chat. I think it was, I can't remember who it was. But someone said Mel Kiper had him in a 1st round mock at 28 to the Lions. This was like weeks ago. I mean, this was like earlier.
So he's like that then. So maybe we're underestimating
Mel
him.
Kiper guy.
Yeah. Put your glasses on, Jeff, or Jeff Kiper.
He's a Mel Kiper guy for sure. 1st round.
Jeff Kiper guy. Okay.
But it's like, who's the example they bring up with Shamar Stewart? Who'd the Ravens take?
When?
Whatever.
Odafo?
Yeah.
Let me see. I think I
know who you're talking about, yes.
Yeah, it's like guys that aren't you look how guys translate. Like Odafe Owe. He had 10 sacks this year, but in college he had like,
I don't think any.
3. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you don't think
that. Klotz.
So some GMs think, okay, what's this dude look like translating to the league? Will he translate better? Maybe they think that Oladejo could translate and be even better. I don't know.
Yeah, that's really just more so. I think those things are like measurements and ceiling. That's really what.
Yeah, I always think of that because Mel actually brought that up. I thought it was interesting. Like the Ravens took him at 32, and he was like, 2 years. I think he's a 2nd-year player. He's had 10 sacks. So it's like he could get one of those. Maybe Shamar Stewart's one of those. Where
Hey,
you never know,
Jeff.
Klotzy.
Yeah, I don't think he's
never
going to
know.
be there
That's
at
true.
28.
There's a world where
No,
he's
but I'm
very
saying
good.
forever. I know, just giving Klotz shit because he doesn't like him that
Yeah.
much. But maybe
Not for
whoever
the
takes
Lions, not for the Lions. I think he could be a good NFL player. It's going to take a year or two.
Hey, guy-
to win now.
Guys like Matthew Golden didn't put 1,500 up in college, but they'll do it in the NFL.
Guys like Matthew Golden going to go win Offensive Rookie of the Year, though.
No, maybe Shamar Stewart does. Doesn't mean he's not. You could just make the argument that he could too.
Nope. I'll make the argument he doesn't.
You could say anyone can.
Yeah, apparently, for those who don't know, apparently Lucas is just out on T-Mac. Or not
T-Mac.
out, but he's not his guy.
If you've been watching the show
Like,
since we've kind of started this, Klotz has been clamoring. Like, it is probably out of any position. Give me
Tetairoa
T-Mac.
McMillan, the
He's
best
the
wide
best
receiver.
wide receiver we've seen in a decade.
And then he
No,
fell over.
now that's not
I think
true.
I think we
that
can
might
go
be
back
crazy.
and clip. I think we might be able to find a clip that.
That might be crazy.
No, hey, boys, and I will say that I definitely was like that.
You're
but
out
then
on him completely.
I got
now.
to
You
I
can't
got
have
to
him.
see Matthew, and I know it's like all the comp. I got to see Matthew Golden at the combine. It wasn't what he was doing, but I never really watched Matthew Golden like
Remember
that.
this,
And what did we
Jeff.
just talk about? Translating. Which one of those two are going to translate in the NFL better? It's going to be Matthew
Jeff,
Golden.
Shamar Stewart. I saw him at the I don't care what he
You
did at
guys
the
like him.
combine.
If you like Shamar Stewart, you can
No,
like him.
I mean,
have no-
I'm like whatever on him. I don't know. Really.
I think his ceiling's there. Like I think there's a chance that he ends up being really good in the NFL. And I'm not going to
yeah,
just
I'm
be
not
like he's
saying
not
he's
going
going
to.
to be bad. He's going to be probably the first wide receiver picked, and he'll probably be the second.
I'm talking about
or third
Shamar
best wide receiver
Stewart.
in the class.
I wasn't talking about Matthew Golden. Yeah.
But Tetairoa McMillan, if he ran a 4.48,
Yeah, he ran a 4.58.
when you watch him, he ain't running a 4.58.
Do you hear what people say about what his knock is? And
Oh,
like
here he
when you
goes.
watch him, when he's not playing New Mexico, run after the catch.
When he's not playing New Mexico,
I feel like I didn't feel like Klotz sent us film. Like, look at this man after the catch.
Boone. You know what? This is the problem I have. Because he's bringing up these like yards after catch. Go look up yards after catch. Tetairoa McMillan this year. He had a career
But
high.
I'm saying
yards
like
after
when
catch.
you make a move, if you have a guy one-on-one in front of you, like there's CJ or
He's
Steve
not as
Smith was literally just
agile.
preaching it. He's not, and he leaves a lot of plays on the field. He's somebody that bullies people with his size and has very raw, natural, God-given athleticism. So when you're playing in Arizona and you're getting fed the football, even if you're double, triple, you're extremely. When he's going up against Sauce Gardner, you're not going to be going every three fucking plays. That's not going to happen. You have to be able to get the ball.
Wait,
Who's going to get the ball more frequently?
30 second
Golden.
timeout. Jeff,
Because I don't hate him for liking Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden's
no,
gonna be
I
good.
think
We all
Matthew Golden's
agree. He's
very
gonna
good.
be
I
good.
think
He's
it's
gonna be good.
for me
It's
and
the
Klotz,
change
this. I think it's the turn on T-Mac. And I think it is because like you're not just being like
he's a villain.
you're not just you're really making him out to be like he's not going to be that good. Like
No.
you
You
are,
gotta
you
make
are.
because
and this is the thing. And I'm not saying like you're not allowed to change your opinion. You are. But the way you're doing it with T-Mac is like you are. I hate to say the word. We're walking on a beach flip-flopping right now, and it's like you're literally just shooting this guy down. He can't have yards after. You're just saying the opposite of what you were saying. The things that he was good at over the last year, and then just out of nowhere, just because Matthew Golden's might be better, you're saying T-Mac's just bad at everything you told us he was good at.
No, I'm
Like
giving, I'm
he can
telling
still
you,
be good at those things,
Yeah,
and
but
you
you
can
know what
still
it's
like
like-
Matthew Golden more.
You
Like
know
that's
what
where
it's
it's
like.
like,
when
why
I-
are you
Yeah.
shooting down the things that you
Because
just
it's one
sat
of
there for
those
12
things,
months
Boone.
and pounded the table for us about them with? Like that sounds like you can't stay consistent with it, and I don't like that. Like I don't think the things that you pound. Hold on, I don't think the things that you pounded the table about T-Mac, those didn't change. He still has all those intangibles, still has them. But
Let-
some
let
reason
me
you're
ask
just
you
saying he
something,
does it
Boone.
all of a sudden. That's
Can
crazy.
I ask you something, Boone?
It'd be like Calvin Johnson just can't.
You
go
ever,
up
you ever
and
have
catch
on?
a
You ever
ball.
have a dark pair of sunglasses? You have them on for a while. You take them off. You're like,
You can still say Matthew
light.
Golden's better,
The
but
light.
you don't
And
have to
here's
take
the
away
thing.
T-Mac.
This is what I'm saying because I watched T-Mac during the season. I fucking loved him because he is really good in college.
So
The
why are
thing
you
is, when you
degrading him?
I'm not to go. I'm just being real with what I think he is. I think he's somebody that can go out there and be a Michael Pittman. I think he's a Michael Pittman type of wide receiver. Where
Drake
he's gonna be
London?
able to,
Who you
I'm
were
sorry?
glazing earlier?
No, he's not Drake London. No.
This is
Drake,
great.
dude.
This is ridiculous, Jeff. I
I
don't think I could ever talk to him about T-Mac
You
ever
didn't like
again.
that Drake London thing. You didn't like the
Drake London is so much more fluid than Tetairoa McMillan.
Okay, but to Boone's point, like I'm not saying the Matthew Golden thing is great, you know what I mean? But what Boone is saying, and I agree with him, is you can be like, man, T-Mac was my guy, but Matthew's right up there with like or better than him. But like you're like, yeah, like he's not going to translate it, you know, like all this.
I never said.
Or he won't translate as well.
You guys are hearing what I'm saying, and you're taking it to the extreme level. I said, who's going to translate better? Matthew Golden. Jeff, you just said not going to translate. I said, what? And you guys were bringing about, yards after the catch. I'm talking about why I was like, took off the lights, and I was like, this is why I don't like him. And it's because of those things. Not as good after the catch if you actually watch. No, because he's abusing guys that are 5'10", pushing him off, and he's got 3 yards of lane, and he's bigger and faster than everybody on the field because he's playing at Arizona, and he's going up against New Mexico State week 3, putting up 300 yards. That's insanely good, but that's not going to be the NFL. I think when you look at wide receivers like Matthew Golden, Xavier Restrepo, they're going to be more productive, and people are going to why? This is why. So.
Yeah,
T-Mac will be the first wide receiver taken, most likely. Not saying he won't be. T-Mac could be a very good wide receiver in the NFL potentially, but I think when it comes to translating, he's not like him and Luther Burden. I think are wide receivers that could be very solid, but their talent is not going to translate to the NFL. What they were really good at in college is not going to translate to their strength in the NFL consistently.
The 180 has absolutely thrown me for a loop. I'll just throw that out there. Really has.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, I'm surprised. Like, I'm not saying you think he's going to be ass. It's just like the guy he hasn't played football. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but that's like I didn't really watch Matthew Golden that much at Texas. Like, I really didn't. And then I started watching him. I'm like, this guy's clearly a better wide receiver. All season, I was watching T-Mac because that was my guy going into the year. Like, I love T-Mac. Now I like T-Mac.
All right.
Like, I think T-Mac.
I don't have any more on T-Mac.
Yeah, I'm out. I mean, just drop some questions, you know? Drop some questions for mailbag. This T-Mac storyline is just I ended up liking him more than you do. I mean, the twist, it's like this is a good movie. I mean, you think about like the ending, it's a twist. Like Klotzy, it's like at the end, you're like, wait, babe, like the main character switched up on the guy you liked. And his boy likes him, you know? Like, what the hell, dude? This is crazy. I like T-Mac, all right? He's a good player, a really good player. I think he's going to be a great wide receiver. I do. I think he moves well. I think, like, I don't look at him as, like, a stiff 6'5". Like, he's, like, I don't look at him as stiff as I won't say you said, but I'm getting a vibe. You're calling him more.
This is like when he has the ball in his hands. No, but when you example, if you're gonna run a curl route and you're 6'6", you have to be able to get down, break down low, and get back out quick. But that's like translating. When you're in college, you go get off, turn around, ball's gonna be right there. He was playing with his high school quarterback for the last 4 years. He hasn't had a different quarterback ever. Another reason I'm like, he can be good, but this is the first time ever he's gonna be playing with a quarterback that wasn't his high school quarterback.
Imagine he lands in LA. Imagine he lands in LA with
Klotz. Like,
LA, that's fine. But again, if he landed in LA, who would be better? Him, Matthew Golden, or Xavier Restrepo? Especially for their scheme, it's going to be Matthew Golden and Xavier Restrepo.
You see what Herbert did though with Mike Williams?
Are you saying I thought you were saying the Rams.
No. I'm saying
the Chargers. I'm still taking Matthew Golden over Tetairoa McMillan. Maybe not Xavier Restrepo because I think him and Ladd do pretty much the same thing.
They're pretty counterproductive.
But I thought you were saying the Rams.
But I don't like the comment that you said that, and I'm just gonna like. He's had the same quarterback for 4 years. He can't go to the. Like Klotz, I think
I see this. I say that, and
don't use it as a point. Don't use it as a point. Don't use it as a point. If you're not saying it, I'm not saying like that. Don't say it. But like that should like he is one. He's an elite wide. He's gonna be a top 20 pick. He's gonna go somewhere. And like you can't use that as an argument. If he gets Justin Herbert, if he's in a room with Justin Herbert. That's better than his quarterback from high school for 4 years.
It seem like I think he instantly sucks. How many wide receivers in college football and in high school football going into the NFL said they can only have one quarterback? You're getting thrown at different
I agree,
but the timing stays the exact same.
I agree.
No
but you have an
Now
offseason.
change in the NFL,
He's
the
going
most
to play with a
difficult sport.
better quarterback, a guy like a Justin Herbert, or a guy like,
Correct.
I don't know, a Joe Burrow. I'm just throwing random NFL quarterbacks out there. Baker May. All these quarterbacks are going to be the timing's going to always get down. If he's as elite as he is, which he is,
Yeah, I mean,
he's going to be able to get down with any quarterback. And like that has nothing to do with it at all, in my opinion.
well, and Klotz, I think
Okay, Matthew Golden had Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning just this year.
Arch Manning threw for I don't even know if Arch Manning threw a pass
McMillan
to Matthew
cannot
Golden.
connect with an elite quarterback. Who has the advantage?
Matthew Golden's
Where's the
had Quinn
advantage?
Ewers for 2 years, 3 years.
And then Quinn Ewers was good and then sucked. Now Arch Manning's there. He's been through quarterback change.
What does Arch Manning have to do with Matthew Golden? He's never had him as his quarterback. He came in 3 times all year when someone was hurt.
Okay.
You know, a quarterback in Arizona never got hurt and a backup came in.
I've made my point, and
we're done. All right, we're done with this. T-Mac, you like him, Klotz, you don't love him.
T-Mac's off Klotz's board.
No, he likes him. He does. He just thinks Matthew Golden. He would have him as your number 2 wide receiver.
I would have T-Mac as my number 3. You guys know how I am with Restrepo. Xavier Restrepo is going to be my number 3.
Dude, I'm so...
Dude, I have been talking about Xavier
I know.
I have Tetairoa McMillan.
I know,
literally
but you
trained
can love
with the dude
Restrepo.
my freshman and sophomore year and watched how good this man was.
I love Ty Robinson. He's not my number 1 D tackle in the draft.
You're acting like I'm saying Xavier Restrepo is going to be a 100-catch guy, a 1,000+ yard wide receiver, and give you 7-8 touchdowns in the first 2 years. Xavier Restrepo is going to be a top 5 wide receiver out of this draft class, and very well could be productive.
Okay, you can. Okay,
should have talked Cade Cunningham for a little bit.
So three. He's your 3rd wide receiver. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's get to mailbag. Auteur. I love saying it like that. Mailbag. Crunch time. Explain Green Bay's doing absolutely nothing during free agency. Yet nobody's downgrading them. Yet Lions, who did way more, are being knocked. No, I mean, notice on this show, no one's been pumping up the Packers, but. Yeah,
I thought Green Bay was very not underrated. I think they underperformed last season, and I'm interested to see Jordan Love because there's something there. He's a wild card. I'll throw that out there. He's a wild card.
Oh wow, a lot of questions.
A lot. Like he could either end up just being what he's been, or I don't know. I'm not gonna say it right now. Actually.
Oh no. What's your second?
Jordan Love is in a very stable situation, and he was dealing with injuries at the beginning of the year and obviously never caught on. But you give him an off season just to kind of get back in his mind, bounce back. Jordan Love doesn't have to be a top 5 quarterback for the Packers to be a very good team. Jordan Love just needs to be a top 10 quarterback and be able to hit his wide receivers when he's not handed off to Josh Jacobs in rhythm. And I think Jordan Love's very capable of that. That defense is going to get a lot better this year because the young talent that they have translating into year 2. You saw the year that Xavier McKinney had. We saw Booner, our boy Edrin Cooper. They got Devontae Wyatt, a lot of young guys. Jordan Love just did have a bad year, but in my opinion, I think he bounces back and the Packers get second in the NFC North. But the Bears and Vikings are not far behind.
For back-to-back years, I've heard this Jordan Love, he's going to take over and just give him an off season. And back-to-back years, he's had inconsistent years, whether it's injuries or not. For the last 2 years, he's supposed to be QB1. He's supposed to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And he's been inconsistent. And if people want to throw out injuries, every quarterback in the NFL is injured at some point. You have to find a way to play through it. And I think,
what are you saying?
I'm just saying with Jordan Love, he's been so inconsistent. I'm not trusting him to go into this year and say he's going to be a top 10 quarterback.
So, but you have the Packers at 2.
I never said that. No, I've been on the side to where I think the final 3 teams, any one of those teams can be 2. I said that.
You're standing on the fence a little bit.
No, when we had the conversation a week ago, I said the Bears are going to. I don't know. Don't act like I was.
So you have the Bears second?
No, I said the Bears will have an opportunity to become second. I think it's going to be I was one of the ones that said the division's going to be from the last place team is going to be from 8 or 9 wins to 12 wins. I think the Bears are going to be in the mix for number 2.
Right Vikings now, who's the second best team?
Oh man, this is tough. I would probably, if I had to pick who's going to win the division.
Well, not win.
Or not win it, get second. listen, we don't lock these in until August. So this is
Yeah,
why
we'll do it again after the
you
draft.
want me to throw this out there. I don't know. I would probably like gun to head. I would just be like, give me the Bears at 2. This is it. I just want to figure out. No, hold on. I just want to figure out real quick. There's two things with it. The reason the Packers to me aren't an automatic. And listen, you say this like I'm not locking this in. I still think it's like by the time the August comes around and we lock them in, I could have the Vikings or the Packers. I just think that like, dude, I'm so off the whole Jordan Love. Like, just wait and see. Like he's had 2 years as a starter. And he has been one of the most inconsistent guys playing at the level he's supposed to play at in the NFL. And he knows that. Everyone knows that. Look at the game versus the Bears at the end of the season this year. Look at the playoffs, or not the playoffs, but I'm trying to think of the game. Was it the Vikings game? There was a game where he looked like it was like, dude, you're the 25th best quarterback in the NFL right now. Like you're not even close to top 10, and your ceiling's supposed to be top 10. I don't trust him going into this year. I really don't. And then the Vikings, I'm sitting there with the Vikings. I don't know what JJ is going to be, and I don't know if they're going to add like an Aaron Rodgers or a vet. So I'm just sitting there waiting to see what happens with that.
No, boom. I respect it. You don't have to lock it in. I said 2 weeks ago the Bears are going to be second. Me and Klotzy went at it. I am standing on it, Klotzy.
I told you I don't hate it. I said that 2 weeks ago.
No, you were respecting. You respected it, Boone. Me and Klotzy.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Going on. We have a little war going on.
Klotz, and I get what you're saying about Jordan Love. By the way, it's 10:02. I've got a Michigan game.
Yeah.
Michigan money line. And yeah, I got to go. Love you, boys.
All right, hey, good show today. Appreciate you all. We'll be back tomorrow. First round mock, and of course, more Lions and Detroit sports stuff. We were going to get into some Pistons. We weren't able to today. Red Wing. We'll get all that stuff tomorrow. Appreciate you all as always. Get your merchandise, officialctsports.com.
Mock draft tomorrow too, boys.
What'd you say?
Mock draft tomorrow too. Friday.
Yes, mock draft with Caleb. Yep.
Until then, appreciate you all. Love you all. Be nice to one another, all right? Peace.
Go Blue.